there are some openings. These guys play a lot against each other. This one we haven't seen much. Not like the Rosolimo. I think it's the only game between them.
Yeah.
Last couple of years.
Yeah. We have a lot of Berlin, a lot of Petrovs, but this is the only Rosolimo we have in this video series.
General, such positions with lots and lots of possibilities for both sides is somewhat beneficial to Magnus, because he is going to play much faster than Fabiano in such positions. And then if tension still there by move 35 or something, then this time trouble can prove to be a trouble for Fabiano.
So what's your biggest takeaway, Sash?
No, I mean, I think it was very exciting 4 hours and extremely boring 3 hours. I mean, it was just...
Magnus, you seemed very surprised by the 10th move. What were you thinking then? Caruana's.
Well, our shit, mainly. So...
Hello again.
Hi there! Welcome to the live coverage of World Chess Championship between Magnus Carlsen and Fabiano Caruana. We have game 4 today.
Yeah, and the big question of the day is, will the white games become interesting? Because, I mean, Magnus's white games, because the two black games, in particular game 1, of course, but also game 3 offered some glimpses of a fight. But so far, game 2, and I understand it's a very small sample, was a bit dispiriting, I guess, from Magnus's perspective, because he didn't really get to play chess at all in that game. So
he was under pressure, and then draw was good result. But today, I really hope that Magnus listens to Alexander Grischuk and he doesn't go for d4.
Yeah, listening to Alexander is always
not
good.
a bad idea.
It's always good, yeah, and I would recommend it to everyone. But all jokes aside, obviously Magnus has been a 1e4 player his entire life. It would not be a problem for him to switch to 1e4, and it's just a question of what the match strategy is for him, because perhaps they feel that they have enough ideas in all kinds of mainline 1d4 openings to persevere for at least one more game and see where it lands them. But yeah, from our viewpoint in particular, and this is maybe, and I mean this, like, there is absolutely no offense meant there, but I've come over the years to very much rely on Jan's encyclopedic knowledge of closed openings, because the moment I see 1d4 on the board and there's Jan sitting next to me, I know I can finally like shut up for 10 minutes, because he will explain the history of the line in great detail with all the nuances and everything. And I feel without him we are left slightly floundering.
Yeah, and he has lots of video series on Chess24 as well. D4 video series, Nimzo Indian. So if you're not a premium member, you should become one. There's a great chance for you to use the voucher code London 2018 and get 3 free months over your 1-year purchase.
Yeah, the offer is on your screen, and it will continue being on your screen until we start getting moves in. And we can maybe address a little bit things happening in chat right now. And people are referring to hashtag Videogate, which I'm not entirely sure what that is, but I suspect it might have something to do with this. To my eyes, a slightly non-story of Magnus apparently adjusting a piece without saying je do.
Right.
That probably is what people are talking about, I guess.
But as I read there, it was not true. Magnus said je do, and it was recorded. Somebody said that he did not say, and Darje then tweeted, but afterwards he as well tweeted that Magnus said je do. So I guess.
And I mean, I generally feel like, rules of course are there to be followed, but even Alexander yesterday live on air was slightly surprised when I told him that I generally say je do even when there's nobody around to to see me do that, because in general I think the intent is quite clear, and I'm pretty sure he did not take a move back. So all in all, it feels to me like the game was perhaps not as exciting as people wanted, and people are looking for stories to engage their imagination. But I think this one is a bit of a non-starter.
Yeah, that is true. But do you think that if Arbiter did not see and notice that he really said je do, he would go and force him to play with that piece? I think he touched knight on d7.
So it's a weird situation, because once again, for me it wouldn't arise, because I feel that it doesn't cost very much to mouth the words. Yeah. And then nobody can really say anything to you. But yeah, in a World Championship match, you would very much hope to avoid this type of weird little stories, because they distract from what's happening over the board. But frankly, I think it's more of a story for us than it is for them. I think Fabi hadn't spent more than 3 seconds on this, and I'm pretty sure Magnus is not losing any sleep.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Over it as well. And there is more potential hashtag fake news in chat, because people are saying that there is a video out there on which Fabi's opening database is being shown. But I have a feeling this is we're not clicking on that link, because I have a feeling that link might lead us down some really strange rabbit hole. And
let's not try it for today. And okay, let's make a bet. I go for e4.
Yeah, I think it's quite likely for today. I mean, I understand it's not a proper bet if I don't disagree with you. So I mean, in that spirit, I'll take. Magnus doesn't really do knight f3 all that much, though. Because I really feel like some deviation from 1d4 would not be a bad idea at all. But I think if it's not d4 or e4, I think Magnus is more likely to play c4 rather than knight f3.
And do you think we will ever get something like big sideline like knight f3 e3 or knight f3 g3 d3, like King's Indian reversed colors?
Not this early in the match, I think. I think it's with the scores level, Magnus doesn't really. I don't think there's any need for him to start treating white games as black games, because knight f3, e3 to a lesser extent, but knight f3, g3 followed by, I don't know, all this d3 and let's say bishop g2 castles, queen e1. It is pretty much white playing a black opening with the tempo up. And, I mean, you're not worse with white, and Kramnik in particular has won a number of very nice games, showing that it's not all that toothless even. But I don't think it's on the menu just yet. But 1e4 definitely is very much on the menu for today, and it could very easily happen.
Yeah, Magnus said that his results are fine, but he can improve. I think that he's not feeling like he's getting in some kind of under pressure, or because people are saying that, okay, he missed this big win in first round, then he could not do anything in the second round where he had where he was pressing a bit, and third round, okay, he got after, if Rook a5 happened, then he would get in a very unpleasant position.
Yeah, game 3, quietly, I think he would be quite concerned about what happened in game 3, because I feel that Fabi got a very, very pleasant position out of the opening without really doing anything spectacular. And considering the speed with which Queen c7 had been played, arguably against specific Team Carlsen preparation, Fabi just achieved a very, very stable, nice advantage by move 15, and that generally is not that great, because you will occasionally be surprised by something and then you will not equalize with black. But that seemed like a line that Magnus was quite happy and prepared to play, and he still, well, clearly didn't equalize.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's but that's a topic for another day. Today, once again, Magnus would obviously very much like to, if not win a white game. I mean, that obviously is an ideal scenario for today, but he would like to get a game with white, which is something that did not happen in game 2 at all.
Yeah, I agree, and but it's tough, because even if he gets a game, he got the game in the first game, and he could not convert it. So I don't know what is going on with him.
Yeah, and once again, the longer it goes on like this, I think the more, you know, the specter of the New York match will start playing on his mind, because there are obviously already some parallels with what happened in New York with when games 1 and 2, if people don't recall the exact script, so to speak, games 1 and 2 were reasonably quiet. And then in games 3 and 4, Magnus failed to win 2 positions in a row, which
his type of positions.
Yeah, exactly the type of positions he made his name on, basically.
Yeah.
You know, positions with a very large advantage, and sort of technical positions where you just need to be patient and not let it slip.
And then he lost.
And eventually he lost, not right away, but he was already, I think, in some trouble in game 5. And then it continued with draws, and it felt like at some point it started playing on his nerves quite a bit, and he eventually lost game 8, and it was a very precarious situation. Obviously, first 3 games are no cause for alarm yet, but if he continues winless for a while, I think it will trouble him more than it will trouble Fabi, for instance.
Right. And when do you think will be the right moment to think about same strategy that happened in New York, that like last games it was clear that Magnus wanted to make draw and go into tie breaks? If it continues like this, when do you think will be the right moment?
I think it was only obvious that this was the strategy for game 12, because I mean he was trailing, he won game 10, and game 11 I thought was a normal game. It's not, I mean, he generally doesn't play for broke with black at all, so he just played a normal game with black where, I mean, throughout the match draw was a good result for black for both of them. So
and game 12 was
but game 12
indication.
but game 12 was basically him saying I'm a bigger favorite in rapid than I am in a one-off classical game with white.
But against Sergei, because Sergei is also a very good blitz player for sure. Oh, you won the bet. C4.
Yeah, I sort of did, although I didn't commit to it properly, so I don't feel like I've done this properly. But yeah, 1 C4. So we're not gonna see the tabia that Sasha spent some time yesterday bemoaning, and we will see something else today. E5 is Fabi's reply. I think Well, Fabi actually plays more or less everything against the English, and off the top of my head, I remember more of his games where he played c5, I think. But c4, e5, knight c3, knight f6, these types of tabias, I mean, they are also quite seriously discussed.
Would Fabi go bishop b4 if he was allowed, like in this position, to have reversed?
Yeah, play some more Rossolimos. Yeah, that's a good. I mean, he might still get a chance because after knight f3, knight c6, we will see a move in a moment. But
yeah.
I mean, one of the major topics of discussion, and we're not going to see that. But I was about to say that e3 is enjoying like a second or third youth right now, and it actually is very close to a reverse colors Rossolimo, and yeah, this position has been very heavily discussed recently. But we're seeing a reverse dragon, which is something else. Bishop g2, knight b6, I expect. I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but it will almost overwhelmingly likely happen. Although, due to the efforts, I think, originally of Boris Gelfand, and then many other strong players started doing this. This move, bishop c5, is now a very serious topic of discussion as well.
It happened.
It actually is what happened. It actually is what happened. That's interesting.
Okay, so we have completely new opening and new game on the board.
Yeah, and it's a very fresh idea. I think it started being discussed seriously in the past couple of years at the most, maybe a year and a half even. And there's not that much theory yet, but the good thing about this line, or a bad thing about this line, depending on your viewpoint, is that there is a great deal of very high-level discussion of it. Like, I think the percentage of games in this line between people of, let's say, 2650 and above playing each other will be higher than in...
Than lower, right?
I mean, the percentage of really high-level games in this line is very high. Higher than would be normal.
Yeah.
So you can actually sort of trust the practice, because the practice is between people who are, first of all, naturally strong and also study chess quite seriously.
Yeah.
Magnus has castle, black generally castles in reply, and the point of this idea is that the bishop doesn't want to be on e7, it generally goes to b6.
And
where it's
moves
a bit
like knight e5 doesn't work?
I think the point is that after you take on c3 and once again, because the bishop is on c5 and not on e7, after knight takes f2, white is probably not doing that great. Although I suspect it's some kind of a draw after knight takes b7. Maybe black has something stronger here, I'm not even sure. Like bishop takes f2 might be a move as well.
King h1?
After king h1 I can take on d8, like
okay,
you take on d1,
this,
and I probably prefer black here.
Yeah.
Like, the structure is slightly more solid for black. But Magnus is not going to check that. I mean, there is a... I'm trying to remember exactly how this Dubov-Karyakin game went, and that was one of the more noticeable games in that line, where Daniil Dubov won game 2 of their World Cup clash in Tbilisi. But I think that went takes d3. No, hang on. How did this go?
We have a very good feature on chess.
Yeah, I know, but I'm trying to remember. But
just for viewers.
Yeah, that game, both of them blitzed out the first 20 moves or so, and then Daniel's analysis proved to be better and deeper, and he eventually won a very interesting and a very important game. But Magnus already played d3, rook e8, and this is a quieter version of the same, because
so do I want the same plans with like a3 connected with a3, a5, because you don't want to allow b4, right? With
I'm not
bishop
even sure
b2.
they react with a5 here, to be honest,
okay.
because with the bishop on c5 I could maybe even consider taking on c3 and then doing something.
Yeah, first probably I would go bishop d2, just not to have this.
But I have a feeling that black is generally just, if the bishop is pushed, it goes to b6, and then you allow knight a4 takes b6. If white wants that, you allow that. So you play something like probably bishop g4, rook c1, bishop b6, some kind of a setup like this. And if white wants to go after that bishop, you are reasonably happy about it with black, because you feel that you've improved your structure a little bit. You now have the A file, and you have your normal central play with bishop h3 or knight d4 at an opportune moment. So.
And what is the critical line to meet this bishop c5?
I think there was a game in St. Louis where Hikaru played, I think it went like d3, queen I think went away for some reason. I think Hikaru played bishop e3 here, I have a feeling. And against Levon Aronian, and I think Lev played e4, d4, queen e7, and they were discussing some position like this.
Oh yeah, I remember something like this.
I'm not entirely sure about the move order, but I am very sure about the structure. Yeah. And Hikaru was quite seriously better in that game at some point, but... Though
it seems like you have to be really brave to go for this e4, e3 too.
Yeah, it's an obviously slightly strange pawn structure in the center. I mean, even calling it structure feels strange, but Hikaru quite clearly was aiming specifically for this position, and practice sort of bore out his evaluation, because he was, at a certain point, he was clearly much better. I think the game was eventually drawn. I want to say it was eventually drawn, but yeah, it proved to be at least a good choice for one game. I don't know if it holds up against careful analysis, but...
And Magnus went for d3, which is rather calm, right? And rather...
Well, you can still transpose to similar positions. I mean, black is allowing knight d5, queen d5, and if I remember correctly, in this position Levon could play rook e8, but decided not to. This is sort of the point, so...
Yeah, I think he takes a bit of time to decide, because this is the moment where he has to decide he wants to go for this bishop e3 structure, or wants to play other moves like which are more in calm.
I'm trying to remember if I've seen somebody force black to play f6 and then return to d2, but it doesn't look frankly that appealing, because the bishop on e6 is a very nice stabilizing influence. Yeah, bishop d2 immediately is played, because I think prompting black to play f6 is not such a great idea here.
Knight c3 followed right away.
Yeah, and Fabi continues blitzing, so once again Magnus's opening choice does not seem to be a shock.
Yeah.
A shock to Fabiano here.
It's great to be prepared.
Yeah.
It's nice.
It's
gives you
it's
more...
not a feeling I'm particularly familiar with, but I can sort of on general grounds I agree with you. It's not like I know what you're talking about exactly, but on general grounds I agree with you.
Right. So we will take with bishop probably, and bishop c3 is already on the board. And knight d4
Knight d4
right
immediately. I was wondering what the plan was. I thought maybe starting with bishop g4 made sense, but yeah, Fabi is going for a very, very straightforward game plan.
It really feels nice that he is blitzing out all those moves. I have a feeling that in opening, apart from first game, he's really putting pressure on Magnus.
Yeah, and okay, this is a different type of preparation to what we've seen in game 2, because this is a much less forcing line, and white is unlikely to be worse, or to be under any pressure to find precise moves to equalize. I think this is much more of a containing approach, but still the relevant bit here is that Magnus played something he has not played in this match, and he has not played against Karakian, and he is, I mean, he obviously plays everything, but I don't think 1c4 is a large part of his repertoire in general.
Right.
And still Fabi is clearly very well prepared for it. And people are saying this is not a novelty. It's also not surprising that it's not a novelty. It's a very natural way of playing, but
they are following a Carlsen-Caruana Blitz game from earlier this year. We have an information in chat.
Yeah, so that's a good thing about having knowledgeable people with computers in chat. They fill the blanks where we are kind of struggling to provide context in terms of opening practice. So that is also interesting then, because Magnus must know of the existence of that game, because I think you know, preparing for the World Championship match and, you know, planning to play 1c4 and not looking at your opponent's games in 1c4 would be a strange misstep to do, to make.
Do you think it bothers a bit? It bothers Magnus a bit that he's really playing with white colors, and okay, white is. You think that you want to push, right? With white you're trying to do something, while with black you are okay with equality. And it's not always easy to find advantage with white pieces.
Yeah, it's been a problem for, I think, most of us for a while, that...
it's easier to play with black.
You know, on a certain level it's easier because your goals are much more well defined, and you are not upset if the game ends in inequality. I mean, let's say if the result of the opening is equality, with black you're fine with it, and with white you feel like you've wasted yet another white white game. So it's obviously not ideal, and it's not that easy to achieve anything with white these days. So.
Will it change at some point, this white thing, that if I'm white, I really have to find advantage? Probably not. White will be still white.
No, I think the trend in recent years, and Magnus, I think, was the inspiration for it. He wasn't necessarily the first person to do it, and also, as Sasha said, I think, during Game 1 when we were talking about it, that many of the seemingly random things Magnus at some point started doing, which felt revolutionary, were actually a product of his work with machines, where people thought, okay, he's playing some offbeat lines and he seems to be getting advantages where you're not supposed to be getting advantages.
Yeah.
He must be a genius. And the he must be a genius part is probably true.
Yeah.
But he was also doing some clicking. Somewhat surprisingly, he was also doing some clicking on the side, so to speak, and it's you see that in, let's say, the way Kramnik approaches opening theory these days, where he obviously, you know, Kramnik cannot not work on chess. I think it's completely impossible for him to stop working on chess. He loves doing it. He knows how to do it. I mean, it's in his blood. But he started looking at much more sort of off-center openings. He started looking not for, you know, specific opening advantages, but just for positions he likes.
Yeah, that is very nice strategy, and I think that if you're playing with black pieces against this offbeat lines, then you're also thinking that, okay, this is not main, this is not critical, so I have to do something.
No, these days I think you take everything a lot more seriously. There's like life has shown us that you cannot really disrespect things which look less than critical, or perhaps aren't as at first glance theoretically, you know, central and important as some other lines. So
B4.
Yeah, B2, B4. And people were asking in chat about this move, but yeah, the issue with all this is that I was about to say even knight f3 bishop d4 is playable, but Fabi instantly plays bishop d6 in reply. This is a bit curious because
which means that if I take everything on
d4, he is
a
allowing this change of structure, and he, as you correctly said, he has a choice between this move and the more sane move bishop takes b4. And normally I would say, you know, I would prefer to have the central pawns against the flank pawns in positions like this. But after bishop b2, I think black goes c6.
Bishop e6.
Actually, black has a very awkward maybe. I mean, there's queen b3. Maybe, yeah, queen b3 probably is a very good reply. Or even queen a4. Yeah, that's correct. So I think you do play c6. And then this bishop probably aims for some kind of e6, d5 squares, or bishop g4 if it ever becomes a topic of discussion. And the other bishop can go back to d6, or it can go to b6, where it puts some pressure on the eventual white center.
Right.
And still, you know, our upbringing teaches us to think that, you know, the two central pawns are better than the two outsiders. And if white starts something in the center, if let's say white gets e4 followed by d4 followed by d5 quickly enough, maybe he can get somewhere. But in general, I think in positions where it's two bishops against two bishops.
Are not these bishops, I mean g2 and b2, slightly better than c8 and b4?
Sure, for the time being, yes. But
diagonals.
But what I wanted to say is, without knights on the board, it's not that easy to create dynamic opportunities for yourself. And
but you would choose white,
I mean,
if you were to.
Yeah, I mean, optically, my first thought when I see a position like this is white should be slightly better, but actually it's going to be very difficult to formulate a plan. I think this bishop just goes all the way back to f8 so that you never have to worry about the g7 pawn, never have to even calculate any tactics connected with this bishop on b2. And the bishop on g2 we have restricted quite successfully by placing the pawns on b7 and c6.
Can we have more ambitious choice?
Where?
Like if we don't take on d4, not to simplify position.
Well, you would, I mean...
But this knight on d4, it's annoying.
Yeah, and in particular now that you played before, because generally you quite often want to play 92 in positions like this to sidestep additional trades, and also you will at some point start pushing this knight away. But now that you have played b2 before, you actually, for instance, have to calculate this move.
Oops.
And you either have to allow this trade, which I think is in favor of black, or you have to start calculating some position like this where, I mean, these pieces look awkward.
Yeah, but d2 knight is hanging.
Yeah, maybe you can play knight c4 and then now queen b3 will be a very strong threat. But on the other hand, like, there is this move, for instance.
Or knight d4 back.
Or knight d4 back, yeah, that's a good point as well. After knight d4 back, maybe I can play e3 and pretend I have some justification for my moves, but...
Knight c6. Would you?
Yeah. I guess I'll have to, but I'm not that happy about it.
Yeah.
We're talking about giving up the g2 bishop and winning the pawn back. Probably completely fine for black, maybe better for black even, because of how weakened the structure is on the king side without this bishop. So knight d2, knight b5 is one option, and black could also try maybe to improve on it further by starting with bishop g4, forcing white to play rook e1 and only playing knight b5 here. Because in the same position you don't
you don't have e3 after knight d4 as well.
No, but you also don't even have jumps with the knight, because the rook on e1 will be hanging. So you're kind of completely tied up here.
Yeah. Now, no queen a4, nothing. d2 is hanging.
Yeah,
so.
d2 is constantly hanging here. So knight d2 doesn't seem to be a particularly playable move. I mean, you can obviously start with e3 straight away. Black probably takes, you take, I guess, with the queen. Black plays c6. And this is another very typical English opening structure where black should just be completely fine, I think. Bishop comes out to e6, queen d7. Black is extremely solid, no weaknesses, no structural issues. Just a very safe...
Yeah, and bishop d6 is nice because it also protects e5 pawn.
Yeah, it's a very good square for it.
And yeah, knight can jump without any problems.
So yeah, before bishop d6, you can make a waiting move. People are suggesting a3 in chat, for instance, but once again, if black is not very ambitious here, he can just... And rook b1 is a variation.
Rook b1, yeah.
It's a variation of the same, basically. You protect the pawn on b4, now you might play knight g2.
Don't you want b5, for instance, if it was white's move?
I guess also you are supporting this break.
Yeah.
If black plays sort of naive chess, so to speak, and just takes and goes c6, you are now supporting before b5. Yeah, I like rook b1. I think rook b1 is a good choice. But also it's a very, very natural move in this position, so I expect Fabi to continue blitzing.
Yeah, that I expect as well.
I'm wondering if bishop g4 is a move you can make here, because white takes, and you don't really want to do this because first of all you lose a pawn and you don't win it back because bishop c6 hits the rook, and then we'll play b4, b5. But I was wondering if I can take on d4 here, and after knight takes d4, play...
But
even bishop takes g3, but I was also wondering about... No.
Cannot I play c5 sort of thing?
But then it returns back.
Ah, okay.
Returns back and it protects the e2
that
pawn.
is the pawn.
But we can take on g3 here. And now going back is, well, horrible because it's an important pawn. You will have to take, and you will have to make a move in this position because e2 is hanging. Whoops, where are those arrows coming from? I really don't understand. Yeah, e2 is hanging, and if you play something like rook e1 and black plays
C6,
maybe
c5.
c6.
C6, yeah.
Oh, it's still, I mean, variation continues. You have to assess this position properly because I think trading e5 for the h2 pawn eventually, right? Because it was on h2 if we think about it. Right. Should be okay for black if he can contain the situation in the center, but b5 is a bit annoying.
It is.
Because cb5, rook b5, we might actually be losing the b7 pawn, which is less than ideal. And otherwise, we will have to allow the creation of a weakness on c6.
And he cannot really play like rook e6, rook h6, and for mate because
he might have to, but I don't think. I mean, there will be
work.
Yeah, there will be no mate.
Yeah.
Like takes queen d2. You already start.
Yeah.
Threatening something like rook b4 and also e3, g4 maybe in some positions. So, but bishop g4 is, I think, the sharpest attempt black has to just completely equalize on the spot if he wants.
Yep. Yeah, most critical probably is bishop d4.
Bishop d4 has to be...
D4.
You also have this option, but after everything gets traded off... Oh, it's still...
d3 is a bit weak, no?
Yeah, but b7 is hanging and I will play b4, b5 next move against whatever it is that black does. I mean, c6, b5 or rook b8, also b5. And it's not much, but white will definitely have some pressure, like rook c8 maybe, bc6, rook c6, and a move of some description. But black probably is also. I mean, there's not enough material here to have
and instead
too
of
much.
Bishop g4, can he go something else, like, I don't know, bishop e6, a4 probably, right?
Bishop e6, you're...
I wanted bishop d5, but it's probably doesn't make sense.
I'm also wondering if I can start taking this pawn now, but probably not. Although, like, how stupid is this?
Probably it works, it's good.
Because if you take on a2, I go rook b2, and somewhat surprisingly, the bishop doesn't really have any good squares.
I have to go bishop e5, probably.
No, but then in the end, you lose the b7 pawn. And that's not equal.
No.
It's. I mean, you might actually even hear bishop 6 followed by b5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Arrows are not my friend.
Right.
So, yeah, some questions to be addressed by Fabiano and people.
I expect something sharper. I don't know. I mean, something that doesn't allow these trades. Bishop d4 and knight d4, and that you have to go for this bishop g3, queen d4, because that does not seem like the position you would go as a preparation, does it?
Well, unless I mean the counter argument would be it's exactly the kind of position you can only go if you've done some homework on it, because it looks dangerous, but if you know the answer as usual. You could, I mean, knowing the answer, you can do all kinds of outrageous things. So it's possible to play in that fashion. But it's one prediction I made already is not coming true, because I was fairly certain that the move will be quite quick in coming here, and Fabi has been thinking for a while now.
And if I go very weird knight b5, you go bishop a1.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Maybe bishop d2 actually, because if the bishop goes to a1, I'm wondering if a5 can make some sense.
Because a4, knight a3, and ab, right?
Yeah, that's an important tactical thing. But Maybe white can take on a5 and then go a4. And I'm not sure where this knight is going now. Well, depends on
d4.
Yeah, but then once again you have to start calculating all this stuff.
Bishop c3 might be there as well. Yeah.
And,
No,
now bishop c3. This I think is maybe the way to get mated. And now, ta-dam, ta-dam. Yeah, okay, he took on f3 already, so we are not going to be seeing any of that adventurous stuff. But still, here I can sort of imagine how white can be slightly better, because before
b5.
b5 will follow, I think, against most of black's options, and then in general the bishop on f3 will be stronger than the bishop on c8.
But he has to solve problems with this bishop on c8, because now b7 is hanging, c6 you don't want because of b5, but you want to develop the bishop.
No, I think you probably have to play c6, because if you play rook b8 and allow b5, you also have to start worrying about all the queen a4, a7 ideas, although maybe the bishop goes back to b6. What is with me and arrows? That's better.
Right. And instead of rook b8, bishop h3 doesn't work because of bishop b7, right? Bishop b7.
I was thinking even rook e1 is not horrible, but then I guess including
queen
bishop
c8.
h3, yeah, bishop h3 makes sense. So let's calculate. We can take, black should take, because if we go rook b8, the bishop triumphantly returns to g2, so bishop f1, bishop a8. And there is bishop takes e2 here and takes on e8. It feels like it's a precise move away from white being better, but there might not be a precise move here. Like if I could play b5 and black passed, and I could play queen e4.
Yeah.
I think I would probably prefer this position for white. But after b5, black can play c6 first of all, and there is also an option of playing queen d5 and hitting some of white's weaknesses.
Yeah, white also has weak pawns.
Yeah, I don't know. Still, because the bishop on c3 here is much more active than the bishop on d6, and the structure, like even the bishop endings might end up being not that harmless for black at all. So
yep. And yeah, this is kind of the forced line with bishop h3, bishop b7, but black is not forced to go for this.
No, I mean it makes sense if Fabi thinks that this position is just equal, but I'm not sure it is. Because if you force white to go rook e1, even in terms of playing c6, I think you've done yourself a lot of favors, because you can maybe take on b5 here, with the point that after rook takes b5, you have this important intermediary move rook c8, unpinning the pawn on b7, and white makes a move, I don't know, and you now can play b6, which is a big deal. Because otherwise, like if we look at the same line with the bishop still on c8, actually dealing with the threat to the pawn on b7 is not very comfortable here. You can play rook b8, but it feels awkward, and it feels like you are allowing white a lot of leeway here. Although even this maybe is not tragic, because queen a4 is very important, runs into bishop b7.
Yeah.
So there is no immediate way to attack the a7 pawn, which might mean I will be able to play b6 next move and then start driving the pieces back.
Is it okay for me to change one pair of bishop here? Let's say, I don't know, bishop b4?
Yeah, I was wondering about that as well. It
rook
makes
d5 I want.
Yeah, there is a threat of rook d5, but I guess we just take and play b6, queen a4, I suppose. Yeah, queen a7. Slightly better for white.
Yeah.
I mean, black might be eventually able to stabilize, but it's one move away from white assuming complete control over the c file, and
white is not unhappy.
No, but also, I mean, structurally black is just fine here. It just depends on whether black can take control over the c file in time.
And c6 square, is it important?
Well, we have no knight. If we could get the knight there, would be nice, but we landing the bishop on c6 will not really give you very much. Yeah, the more I look at this, the more I feel like black is not really all that unhappy about this position.
A6. A6, not to allow B5.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Should have mentioned that option.
Do we want C6 afterwards, though?
Yeah. We A6 followed by C6 is very, very logical, and the big question is how is he planning to reply to A4? But I guess one of the potential points is that after C6, if white wants to go B5, you have to allow this. And this, I'm not sure it's good for black at all, because for instance we can play B6 here, fix this pawn on B7, and in particular if we're allowed to land the queen on A4 blocking this, might become very awkward for black. But on the other hand, the pawn continues running potentially, and it, you know.
And opening A file wouldn't it be in black's favor?
Or that, yeah, you can take the A pawns off and then make a move.
Which one though?
Yeah, exactly. But I think maybe you can play something like bishop d7, bc6, bishop takes c6. I mean, it looks kind of sad, but with the A pawns gone, I think they often just hold positions like this. Although obviously white will not at all be unhappy about such a development, because you have a... It's definitely, you know, a stable small plus, which is something Magnus will be quite happy about, and I think Fabi should probably avoid giving him positions like this.
And if this happens, then we could be happy with the white's outcome of the opening. We finally can say that, okay, white got something out of the opening, and he puts a little bit of pressure on the opponent.
Sure. I'm also wondering if after A4, and I'm assuming A4 will be played, because really nothing else seems to be making very much sense. I'm wondering if maybe black could just play, let's say rook B8, B5, take on B5, A B5, and just play B6. Because once again, we've gotten rid of the A pawns, so there is no weakness on A7 to think about, and this type of a setup with the bishop on D6 supporting the backward pawn on C7. It's quite stable, but once again, like queen C2, rook FC1, bishop D4, there will be some pressure on this pawn, for sure. Also, also rook A1, A7 potentially in some kind of not so distant future. A4 hasn't been played yet.
Yeah.
On the other hand, but...
What is he thinking? What is another way? Maybe queen A4, but no. Queen A4, bishop D7, just...
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the second move to discuss here even is, to be honest. Like, I mean, you can play bishop G2 to never have to calculate bishop H3, but it feels like bishop H3 was never really a threat, and bishop G2 is just a waste of an important tempo potentially.
Right. A4 is expected. That's
A4 is by far the most natural move in the position here.
Because we don't want to play B5 right now. Our A pawn would be...
No, I think allowing black this type of a stable structure is just wrong. Yeah. You don't want to be doing that. Also, as you mentioned, this is now a potential weakness for the future.
And after A4, C6 is like the most logical reaction?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, there's C6, there's also this idea of just ignoring it and allowing B5, and I was also wondering if maybe bishop H3 becomes better with the pawns on A4 and A6. Like if we look at this position again, if we look at this position again with the inclusion of A6 and A4, yeah, maybe this makes sense, because B5 now, the move I kind of wanted to make,
is no longer
once the A pawns are gone, once the A pawns are gone, you're really not worried about B5, so it's probably queen E4 here, and yeah, even, I mean, up to and including takes, and rook B8 might be fine.
Right.
So maybe this is one option black could explore after A4. But I'm more curious as to why Magnus hasn't played A4 yet.
And maybe he doesn't want to hurry. He can play like first queen C2, rook FC1, and then a4. How
But
black...
that gives black time for, like a
Yes.
typical plan here would be, an a4 has been played, but just to show, a typical plan here would be to play bishop b6 and then start hinting that I want to play bishop d5 either immediately or maybe after some preparation, either trading those bishops off or forcing white to meet, let's say, a4 bishop d5. If you play e4, you've locked your own bishop out,
That doesn't look...
and that takes a lot of sting out of your minority attack on the queen side.
Yeah, a4 played, and we expect c6 or bishop h3, which is also a valid option.
Now the moves we listed so far are c6, rook b8 with the idea of taking and playing b6 and bishop h3. But there are, I'm sure, other things as well. Like maybe you can play some slow move like queen e7, wait for white to play b5, and then you can play something like rook a3 here. It's a similar idea to rook b8 and followed by b6, but I don't want to abandon the a file. The difference is here I'm trying to also keep some control over the a file to not make it easy for white.
Right, and queen d2 with bishop
And
d4.
yeah, now bishop b4 is an issue here. Yeah, that's a good spot. Yeah, I'm not sure how happy I am about this. Let's say b6, either rook fc1 or even maybe the immediate bishop b4, and then and then the c7 pawn becomes a source of worry, because once again, because the bishops are the light square bishops ones, you can make an argument that black maybe can even play like this and say, yes, I have this weakness, but we have exactly the same amount of pieces which are attacking and defending it. You're never going to break through. But it's an incredibly passive and, you know, cheerless way of playing.
It's just no fun.
Yeah.
Why to go for this?
I mean, it might hold, but who plays like this?
Yeah.
I don't think it's particularly in Fabiano's character to go for positions like this. And against Magnus, it just generally isn't such a great idea because he will enjoy it.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah. It's
for another 50 moves.
Yeah, he is not going to get discouraged by this. He will enjoy this quite a bit.
Right. a4, c6 played, and do we expect b5?
Yeah, I think once again you probably want to play b5 as early as possible because, let's say you wait for a move. One option you give black is once again bishop e6, and here you will be able to play bishop d5. I am slightly, worried for black because it depends on how awkward it is for him to defend the d5 pawn. If you're forced to play d4, you are probably slightly worse here because once again of the difference in the quality of bishops.
Right.
But I'm not sure you're forced to play d4. I mean, you can play bishop c5. If you're allowed, you probably will support it by playing b7, b6, and it's not horrible. That's one option, and we can maybe look for something else as well. There is maybe an option of playing bishop d7 with the intention of meeting b5 by taking twice, and I can actually take twice in two different ways. I think this might be playable. And there is also the option of going for this, where you have to calculate cb5, bishop takes b7, but I don't see why black should necessarily be scared of it. Rook b8 seems playable, bishop a6, ba4, and also even rook a7 seems playable.
Yeah, ba4 is...
And even b takes a4 maybe is playable. Takes, we have the threat of bishop h3, we have this passer on the a file, who knows what this is.
Right, and when we have a pawn on b5, is it more of a weakness or a strength? Because, okay, it's a passer, yeah, in the endgame. But when we have queens on the board, I mean, if bishop d7, yeah.
And take twice with A and C, yeah?
A and C, yeah.
Yeah, this position. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's more of a weakness, but it's a defendable, it's a very defensible weakness. I mean, it should be fine for black. And once again, positions with only 4 bishops for light pieces are generally, I think, it's not that easy to exploit potential weaknesses because a knight is a very devious piece. It goes in, weird L-shaped ways, and lacking knights, you are harder pressed to to do something here. Black just wants to play queen e7, maybe push it to b4, put this bishop on a6. I mean, you can also imagine black being better if white is not
if he allows
energetic.
everything.
Yeah, if white is not energetic and forceful enough. I think it starts by playing bishop d5 actually, because you really don't want to allow the bishop to e6. You play bishop d5, you place the queen on b3,
Maybe
rook comes to c1.
maybe bishop h3 can
Yeah,
have
we
some
go
kind of
rook c1, bishop
tactic.
a3.
Yeah.
No, but I think there's maybe bishop f7 check there. I think this might work.
Ooh, counter tactic. Nice.
Yeah, I think this might work.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't think I'm getting mated here.
No.
Because the eventual queen d5, I'll just play f3.
Yeah. Well, interesting. I'm just a bit afraid that if the position gets way too much simplified, Alexander would not enjoy it.
No, I think, you know, we can make him enjoy it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not getting him away with it so easily. We'll force feed him this position and he will. No, but jokes aside, it's not a dull position. It's just I don't believe white is better, but I think it's still very much alive, and there's still plenty to talk about.
But 5 more precise moves, and I think it will get clear where this game is
Yeah,
heading
I think in particular if Magnus plays at the immediate b5, which to my eyes is quite logical and probably the most ambitious choice he has here is to play b5 straight away and put the question to Fabi, how are you going to deal with this? Are you going to allow some kind of structural imbalances? Because as mentioned, takes and a5 leads to actual very sharp positions, which the drawback of this with black is that you might be quite seriously worse.
Yeah.
If this doesn't work out, for
It's a
instance,
very
let's say
serious
we go queen a4
drawback.
here to stop a4, we go rook fc1 next move, and we play b5, b6 at the best possible moment later in the game. And
Yeah.
I mean, you have these two pieces which are still quite passive. The pawn on b7 is a constant source of worry. And
Yeah, this doesn't look...
I mean, it's very easy to imagine how black could be quite seriously worse here, because shifting these pieces is really not that easy. And yes, you have an outside passer on the a file, but where is it going?
Exactly, and always this problem with the c8 bishop. How many times we get problems with c8 bishop
No, I
in
think
different games?
it's a very normal thing to have the issues with the development of that particular piece. So I'm curious what the reply to b5 is here for Fabiano. Because if he is actually planning to go for this, I mean, Magnus should snap this off. Magnus should be extremely happy about this. No, maybe extremely happy is strong, but generally I think in lines like the one they're playing today, this type of a small but stable advantage is about the most you can get. So
Yeah.
if you're not happy with this, you're generally
You're
probably not going to be happy with very many things in English. I mean, then again, it is 5 against 5 with only one weakness on c6. Black probably should be able to defend this.
Yeah, not that much choice, because after b5 white has big threats. He either has to go for this or for when you have b5 pawn and give up b7.
No, but this is why, I mean, I like this better for white than the one with the passer on b5, and this is why I would think playing b5 immediately is preferable to giving black an additional tempo to play, for instance, bishop d7, preparing for the break and having more options after the break happens.
And it is much better for white, of course, to keep the a pawns, right? Because if bishop d7 played, then a pawns would help him to get to b file, and a6 would be weak.
But this is why black starts with a6 on move 13, and once again, people in chat where they started getting very excited by the fact that a6 was played, and apparently the machine really disliked it.
Oh.
But from a human perspective, including a6 and a4 makes perfect sense, because I mean, the more of the queen side disappears, the closer you are to equality. And people asking where Alexander Grischuk is, you will trust us on this. You will have Sasha talking to us very soon, but not just yet. As usual, we expect him.
And he's not late. It's
No.
he. Usually we have him after an hour or so. And,
Yeah, so we still have some time to. You still have to bear us and just us two for another 15 minutes or so, and then we will have
Please do.
the true superstar. I wonder what he will have to say about all this. To be honest, he tends to be quite scathing occasionally. Yeah? He doesn't mince words very much. So maybe he will be sharply critical of something in this game as well. I'm not entirely sure what though. It feels like a reasonably straightforward theoretical discussion in a fashionable line.
Yeah, B5. It's very interesting how he will reply. I'm really interested in Fabiano's reply rather than Magnus playing here B5, because I think he will do it. I don't imagine that he will give one more tempo.
Let's go through the options again. I think having played a6, you start. No, hang on. Yeah, so one option is this. And once again, in particular, once I spotted queen a4, I don't really like this option very much, but maybe you can still play like this, like queen e7, maybe rook fc1, bishop e6 or something. But it's, there's a very serious amount of risk involved with this, because for instance I can play b6. I suspect the pawn on a5 is now hanging. And if you play bishop d7, I go something like maybe queen a1 or queen a somewhere. And the pawn on b7 is now hanging, so you have no time to play a5, a4. So you have to waste another tempo, maybe bringing the bishop back. Now e5 is hanging.
Really looks.
No, this looks very
asking for
strategically dodgy. Yeah.
Trouble. And he couldn't use this bishop h3 tempo anywhere. Yeah, right. If
Where?
c takes, a takes, bishop h3, bishop b7 is there.
There's bishop b7. There's also ba.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what this is. Although ba, maybe you can just take with the pawn. Yeah, maybe you can just take with the pawn. But what happens if I just play rook e1 here? What if I don't involve?
Yeah, I thought queen c8 sort of move, or rook c8, just to get some tempos and I don't know.
But once again, this is.
Yeah, this is not.
This is not very comfortable. I can maybe even just play queen b3. Let's say a b5. I go rook c1, and this is now hanging because of the more pointless arrows. And also, of course, the b5 pawn is hanging.
Yeah, rook a3, just queen b2, and
I can maybe even take here because there's the
e8 hanging.
Yeah, there's the e8 rook hanging in the end of that variation.
Ooh. Would you go for bishop d7, ab, bishop d7, or ab, and
well, maybe
c takes?
I don't know. Maybe c5 here, but once again, c5, b6. You're not that happy here with black. I think it's quite risky.
Yeah. And cb5 also looks very.
No, the way the pieces are positioned, cb5 I just don't like at all, because b7 is hanging, the queen is coming to b3. There will be really a ton of pressure on this b pawn in this position, and it's just, these positions are, I mean, you need to be much further ahead with black to comfortably go for this structure.
Does it mean that we are kind of forced to go for this bishop d7?
Yeah, this is it's very sad to be going for that position, but it's the one that I keep on returning to, because everything else I dislike more. Let's put it like this, because here we take one issue. One issue white has is that I would like the queen to magically teleport to the c4 square, but if I play, let's say, queen b3, I think black can play e4 here, and it's a very important simplification resource, because not only am I trying to trade more pawns here with black, I'm also lengthening the diagonal for this bishop, and in general, the bishop on d6, if you look at this position, one of the problems black has is that this bishop is passive, and it's also kind of looking, it's stuck with this pawn on e5, which it might have to protect.
There
And
would not be
So
any...
I'm wondering if I need to start with queen c2, for instance, just to stop e4 from happening. But queen c2 is a much less of a threatening move. Black can play queen d7.
And queen b3, e4, take rook d1. I cannot use this pin.
No, I'm not
anyhow,
sure. I mean,
right?
it's a bit risky because, as you correctly are asking, I mean, black is not particularly well coordinated. But with, like, maybe I can play something like queen e7 and not lose.
Right.
Even this position is not an immediate draw. Like, white would be justified in continuing here because his pieces are better placed and better coordinated, and opponent c6 is still somewhat weak. But you take black to make a draw here. Let's put it like this.
Right.
Black doesn't lose these types of positions very often.
And I also cannot get to 7th rank if I didn't play e3 and queen b7 after queen e7.
Oh, here, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, something like rook e6, and if you play queen b7, it's not particularly comfortable, but some position like this, I have a feeling black shouldn't be losing it. But yeah, it's not great. It's not going to be particularly enjoyable. So maybe we don't even play e4. Maybe we play something quieter. Like we can play queen d7 even here. If queen b7, I suspect we can play bishop c7, and now there's rook b8 as a threat.
And queen c4, what we wanted from
Yeah, and after queen c4 we can just sort of batten down the hatches. I don't know, rook e6 or rook b8, trade
Queen
one pair of
h3,
rook.
rook e6 is never good idea.
I don't think you will ever have enough time for this.
Yeah.
Actually,
Too
I mean,
optimistic.
one plan I definitely did have was to play h5 and try to ask white if you want to allow h4, if you want to play h4 yourself, because then maybe I have some
Yeah.
some counterplay on the king side in the future. But with the queen on c4, it just looks completely empty because we're never actually threatening to play h4.
Yeah, rook b6 also. and
Yeah,
rook
no, I
b-
mean, white clearly is
Yeah, white is the
better.
one who is.
Yeah, better,
putting
but
pressure.
there's only one weakness, and the general rule is with only one weakness, you should be able to hold if you play well enough. And people, yeah, that's a very nice tactic. Queen b7, bishop c7 is a big blunder. Yeah.
Oh.
Thank you for pointing
Overloading.
this out,
Yeah,
Nemanja.
that's nice one.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And very curious that b5 is not on the board yet.
Yeah, only thing that I think is like he's trying to not to go into this pleasant endgame, but which might be easily holdable. And he wants something else.
He wants, yeah, perhaps he wants to preserve, you know, the life in the position, but I don't. It feels to me that without eventually playing b5, you're not really achieving very much in this position. And yeah, people are suggesting queen c2, and we kind of looked at queen c2. But for instance, bishop d7, you might struggle actually to get the kind of a position you're getting.
If we take e pawn and d pawn, is it better version for who? For white? I just meant that somehow we managed to go d4 in a good
D4.
way. Not
It
allowing.
depends on what happened in the queen side in the meantime. Like, let's say we
Let's
just
say now, yeah.
discuss this change in structure. I think it probably favors white,
Yeah,
but
because
it
of
will
d5?
take a very, very long time to. Yeah, because you can put a rook on d1 and it's slightly awkward. There's also, like, if the queen goes to e7, there's this b6 square to aim for the bishop. There's
Yeah,
also
bishop
always
c5.
ideas of playing bishop c5
Yes.
because you never really want to take and leave yourself with this horrible pawn on b7. So yeah, maybe d4. I can play something like queen e7 and reply though, because I want to play e5, e4, and I'm asking
Yeah.
you to take on
Take.
my terms, so to speak.
Rook d1.
Yeah, rook
anyway.
d1, and we go. Even this, yeah, you still have a little bit of something. It's not empty. I was
Right.
going to suggest bishop f5, but there's rook d7
Ooh.
there in the end.
Yeah.
And that's just bad for black. Okay, so queen c2. We haven't really discussed it properly, so let's have a look at this. Apart from bishop d7, what else is there? You can play queen e7 once again to stop d4 because of e4.
Or he can take on b4 as well, right? Take queen.
Yeah, probably that as well. There is bishop takes g7 here, but I don't know if white is so happy about this because it's an endgame. Middle game would be close to winning for white, but endgame is...
With b and c pawn?
I mean, they're not running yet. Even this
No.
probably is slightly better for white. Like f6, for instance, I don't know, queen takes, rook b4.
Yeah, again, this
And it's
this
difficult.
one.
It's difficult for them to start moving, and the bishop is just horrible on c8.
Yeah.
But I mean, d4 e4 I think is a much bigger issue
course,
because
yeah.
after bishop g2, you've killed off your own bishop more than anything else. And let's say if black plays f5 and manages to establish bishop e6, bishop d5, you just start picking black in this position.
Yeah, and it doesn't change much in b5 lines like b5a, b bishop d7, and if we played queen c2, anyway, queen e7 was coming.
Yeah, queen e7 was a normal move. I mean, and Magnus does something we did not expect.
Rook e1,
Yeah, I'm really unsure what this is.
just going out of bishop h3 tempo?
Yeah, in my youth, these types of moves were called mysterious rook moves. And they were called that because nobody really understood why they are made. And I am very much part of that nobody group of people.
Not only we are surprised, but look at chat. Everybody's like, why rook e1? Rook e1? Question marks.
Yeah. Rook e1 looks
surprising.
sophisticated, says Suat, and hi to Suat Atalik, who is a regular in our chats, and we're always very happy to see him because he's very knowledgeable about chess. And yeah, calling it sophisticated, I think, is a very polite way of saying we don't really understand why this move has been played. And it's coming on to an hour, so probably in about another minute or two, we'll probably take a short break to establish the connection with Moscow, and then we will have
Maybe
our,
Sasha can tell us what is this rook e1 about.
yeah, our Moscow mule is joining the show, which is obviously glad tidings for everyone.
Right.
But yeah, rook e1 is a very, very surprising choice to me. I don't really understand why the rook has to be on this file.
Should be very deep.
Yeah, there has to be, a story behind it.
Yeah.
There has to be an interesting story behind it because, like, on the surface, I don't really understand. Like, if you don't want to play b5, why you wouldn't play queen c2? What is the point of playing rook e1 here?
Also, other moves like opening d file or queen b3, rook spot is not on e1. Yeah, you want to play rook c1 or rook d1.
Exactly. If you don't like the rook on f1, you free up the entire first rank, and then you choose probably one of the other squares, not this square. So yeah, a very surprising choice by Magnus, and yeah, I think this is probably as good a time as any to take a short break and get some expert opinions on things because I am very, very confused right now.
We'll be back with Alexander Grischuk.
Hopefully, yeah. Stay tuned. It shouldn't be very long. And we're
We're
back.
back.
And we're back with our guest from Moscow. We welcome Alexander Grischuk to the broadcast. And apart from some technical issues which cropped up, we were briefly discussed the move Rook E1, and seems like nobody really understands why it was played. Yeah?
Yeah, good evening, Peter. Good evening, Sopiko.
Hi.
Dear viewers.
Good evening, dear Chess24 viewers, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I mean, I have looked this game a little bit in the first hour. It was the line that I invented into top level practice played in my game against Pavel Ilyanov. This bishop c5.
Shame on me. For some reason I thought it was Boris.
Which Boris?
I thought Gelfand played it a number of times afterwards.
Yeah,
probably.
then he played it with white against Adams the very next day. With white. It was white.
Yeah, I'm old. I don't remember anything.
Yeah, but basically I should not get any credit for this move because it was just computer showed it. Basically, from my very childhood, I always had an impression that after c4, e5, black just should not be any worse. Because, I mean, obviously, white is tempo up, but e5 is obviously a better move than c4. So I was just, at some point, I just tried you know, to find a way for black, not to equalize, but just to play on even terms with white. And okay, and I just was putting different positions on computer, and here just after bishop g2, he actually showed bishop c5 as the best move, giving zeros, of course. And I was quite happy, looked a bit further at it, and still could not find any refutation of it, and then yeah, I played. Because obviously after c4 you can play in a number of ways, but like if you play c4, c5, you are just trying to equalize. I mean, it's clear that white will have some upper hand. Yeah, so it was just found like that. But then now it became quite popular. There are lots of games. But what I still don't like is that many people play it with black, but just trying to defend, trying to equalize. Because when I was looking at it, I just saw no real reason trying to equalize, because I thought it's already equal. So I don't know.
Great.
But yeah, the theory grew up quite big here. The main move is bishop b6 instead of rook e8. And now there is knight take d5, queen take d5 before.
Yeah, this is how the Dubov Karyakin game went and all this here.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember how this went.
e4 and so on.
Yeah, knight g5 and all this, all these lines.
Yeah, then I'm not sure what. But rook e8 is also a very fine option, and it was even mentioned by Dubov in his annotations to his game against Karyakin.
No, but rook e8 looks logical. I mean, why not just develop? And also, we were told by our wonderful chat people that up to even bishop takes e3, knight g4, this was still a game between Wesley and Fabiano from a Blitz tournament somewhere. So
St. Louis.
he has actually played this reasonably recently, and it shouldn't have come as any kind of surprise for Magnus.
So it should not have surprised Magnus, but still it did. And yeah, and then I looked a little bit with an engine, and I a little bit failed to understand a couple things, but okay, I just had like 5 minutes to look at it, so it might of course be wrong, but just my impression was that a6 was a little bit strange move by black.
What is better? Yes.
Yeah, because what is if just c6? Why not just c6?
And after b5?
b5, I guess c5, no?
So you just go for this line. Yeah, I was wondering about that because I think maybe he was worried white will get some pressure on the white squares,
Bishop
but
d5, it doesn't look...
yeah, like something like bishop d5, queen b3.
But I will be very happy to exchange those bishops, no? Like queen somewhere to e7 or...
Ah, and then bishop b6 next move. Simply.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know, it's what's computer's suggestion. Because, I mean, obviously critical was b5 instead of rook e1.
Yeah, yeah. This is what we were discussing it for like 15 minutes.
Now black has to decide if he just tries to defend a slightly worse position after AB bishop d7.
Yeah, this was our choice. After a while, we decided this is maybe the best.
Yeah, but okay, I don't think you play rook e1 to avoid this position.
This
because
is
anyway, it's like maximum that white can get already.
This is
I mean,
more or less exactly what I said on air. Yeah, that's.
And but cb5 of course is critical.
Yeah, a b and a5 or something. Yeah.
a5, queen a4, yeah. Queen e7, and now I guess Fabiano just analyzed it because now it becomes very black wants bishop f5 and then e4 to solve all his problems. And then it's just like white has an interesting option of bishop e4 here just to prevent it. Or else he can play some move and then after bishop f5
let's say
play
rook fc1.
fd1.
Ah, okay, that way. But then which move? Yeah, which move can we make then?
I don't remember. There was some move, maybe rook a1 or I'm not sure. And bishop f5, rook fd1.
To stop
in
e4,
order
yeah?
to stop e4 because yeah, the bishop will be hanging. And then okay, computer showed some crazy lines. At some point black had bishop c2 move. And okay, the line continued. I mean, okay, it was just a very short analysis by me.
Yeah, but rook e1 just feels like if you want to make a waiting move, why not play queen c2? What's the point of placing the rook on e1?
Maybe he wanted not to get into Fabi's preparation again and place something which doesn't come to human mind.
Maybe he wanted to stop bishop h3 followed by queen d7.
Yeah,
So-
but
So it's like with rook e1, he forced bishop d7. I mean, in a way. I mean, now you probably, although you now even can play bishop e6, b5, ab, bishop d5.
yeah, this yeah, we also were discussing this, that this is quite playable.
It would be a better version for black than the line that we discussed. But I think bishop d7 now. I mean, it's like what I was trying to get when I was looking at the line. I mean, I just don't see why black should be any worse.
Yeah, he played e3, queen f6, and he has just played bishop e4. So I guess he is actually playing for the d3, d4 break.
But Fabi is playing pretty fast as well. He has
Well, I mean, he's making
133.
he's making natural moves. Yeah, he is playing fast, but I think those clocks might be somewhat incorrect because we're 1 hour in, and they start with 1:40, right?
Yeah.
So that feels like they should have less time than
Yeah.
what our board currently is showing. So it's probably a good idea to disregard those clock times for the time being. But I mean, even if you achieve d4, you're probably not going to be much better or better at all. Like, let's say I go rook a d8 here, and after d4 I can play even something like bishop f5 maybe.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, you don't really want to play d4 with queen on d1 and rook
Yeah,
on d8.
let's go queen c2.
Yeah, and now, yeah.
No, but still, let's say I go g6. g4 I take, and if you take with the bishop, I go bishop b5. I think.
No, bishop b6 is maybe...
Ah, yeah, maybe
a
bishop
little bit
b7.
And bishop is on e4. I never want to kick it with f5 or something, like queen h6.
No, I would love to.
White would love, or
I
black
would
would
love
love
to
to.
with
Ah,
black, yeah.
okay, yeah.
So maybe something like rook d8, queen c2, queen g5 in order to meet d4 with f5.
Yeah, because you want to have f5 and e4 as a reply to...
But I guess I want just f5 next move, no matter what.
I mean, I might get mated if I do this, right? Like,
Yeah, if like this, yeah.
yeah, you might
Take
just...
Yeah.
Or bishop h3, but bishop g4 looks quite threatening, and yeah, it's very easy to get mated
Rook
like this with
e6,
white.
rook h6 coming as well. Ooh,
I mean,
this
white
looks
also has some tricks of his own, but yeah, it could become quite sharp.
Rook e6 maybe.
But if black wants a simpler life, let's say, can he play bishop f5 here, or are we worried about queen f3?
No, I mean, I'm not sure you just really want to take on e4 at all, no?
Yeah, that was why I was asking. Yeah, I wasn't sure about this.
Also, you allow b5 in the process. Oh, I guess now b5, you will take e4, play cb5, then play a5.
Yeah, I thought without the light squared bishops, I can probably create this passer on the a file and be okay.
Maybe. But I would want just to play f5.
And how does he stop if I don't go rook d8 and queen g5 right away? Like here?
I guess d4.
So
I
we
think-
go into same lines. Just
Well,
I don't have rook
I
d8.
I don't know who is actually happier about the the inclusion of queen c2 and rook d8, because here I can take with the queen, but I don't know if I want to.
But maybe I could go queen h6 because queen is on d1 still and not c2. Then f5
But-
comes anyway.
But after d4, you could just take d4, no?
Ah, yeah, sorry.
Oh,
Queen
Yeah.
d4, bishop e5.
Yeah, queen d7, bishop c3, and yeah, probably some kind of a draw. Yeah. Rook c1, rook e4, rook c3, rook e7.
ooh.
No, this might be worse for black if white takes the line.
Yeah, if white actually manages to grab the file, yeah.
And
Ah, okay.
could I go queen h6 instead of queen g5? In the other lines, queen h3 would be very...
Ah, yeah.
f5?
Yeah, you're gaining some time. But on the other hand, you play queen h3
Queen h3
immediately.
anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I start by playing e6, I guess, to
Yeah.
revive this guy.
Bishop e6 and queen d...
I don't know, queen
Well,
c7,
queen
queen
c7,
d4,
yeah.
there's all kinds of moves. But we're getting slightly carried away, of course. I mean, it's this is not forced. Putting it mildly. But also, I'm not sure if I should even be worried about allowing d4 in general. Just how bad is it if we do nothing and just allow it and then start trading pieces?
No, I mean, it just depends of concrete situation.
Yeah, for instance, what I mean is, let's say rook a d8, queen c2, I play g6, you play d4, and I just put this bishop on h3. And I say,
b5.
yeah, but so much stuff gets exchanged that, I mean,
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, just
take on d4 and go bishop b5, maybe. Or something.
yeah, bishop b6 always.
Yeah, but here I'm much less unhappy about this. I feel like the entire queen side disappears, so I'm not gonna be that much worse.
Take and bishop c5. Yeah, but again, I just don't understand this attitude. I mean, I just play for f5. I don't know, just.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just trying to like list the options and show what happens if you play in a more conservative fashion.
Yeah, he can get a very sharp game with f5 ideas, or he can try to wait with rook a d8 also, right?
I think you start by rook a d8 in most cases, but then you have a choice after queen c2 whether you play for some f5 pushes or you play for something more conservative.
Rook just belongs to d8 first.
Well,
We have to get all pieces into center and then try to attack. At least that's what Anish tells me always.
No, I mean at least to press, maybe not to attack, but
Yeah.
to massage white's king somehow. Although I guess if you reverse colors here, it would be that I mean the white here or black if you after you reversed the colors has a quite nice Sicilian. Yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a very decent Sicilian. You wouldn't be unhappy at all about this. Yeah, if you were actually playing the dragon, I think it's a very, very acceptable outcome for the opening. But yeah, this is a trick I remember that. I mean, it's not that unusual, but in my practice, I remember exactly when this was first demonstrated to me. I played a game against Alexander Morozevich in a European Club Cup many years ago, where he played this bishop b5 check against my Sicilian, and then there was the period where he always played this weird idea of knight g5, knight h3, and then f4 against everything. And at some point I castled kingside, and there was a sharp game which ended in a draw. And then we went to analyze, and he said, but why didn't you castle queenside? Because you're better in the center, you're better everywhere. Why did you spend some time castling kingside? And I said, well, I mean, it looks scary. And he said, okay, let's turn the board around and let's show you the same position, but you're white. Where would you castle then?
It really matters.
Yeah, and I looked at it from the white side, and I just thought, how could I castle kingside? It's impossible. You always play long castle here.
Yeah, it really
matters.
But
yeah, it warps your perspective quite a bit.
Yeah, but actually when I played this game against Selyanov, I played for a long time just with my eyes closed, because I was just imagining the position reversed. I mean, till it became quite concrete, and I mean, once it became concrete, I was winning in like 3 moves after that, and then I just started playing normally. But before that, I was just, yeah, it was very exhausting, because I was just playing for like 2 hours with my eyes closed, like a blindfold game.
Yeah, I've done this occasionally when I play, in particular, actually these types of positions. Yeah, and FIDE, yeah, you will not be particularly happy about this, I guess, Sasha. Yeah, he played bishop f5, because this does seem like an attempt to equalize instead of just kind of playing calmly onward. Yeah, and we have to discuss this endgame, I guess. Queen f3.
Yeah, but I guess he wants b5 immediately.
Takes d4, and just b5 straight away.
Yeah, I think that's his idea.
Rook d1.
Yeah, just maybe bishop somewhere, or...
Yeah, just bishop f8, I guess, or maybe bishop... Yeah, let's go bishop f8. And we're taking with the c-pawn, or... How are we taking?
C-pawn is tempting, then rook on c4 will be quite nice.
Yeah, well, that's what I wanted to try and achieve, take on c4, and one of the 2 rooks to come to c4 and to put pressure on this b4 pawn.
But I'm not sure what it is, but...
Yeah, I mean, white shouldn't be worse, but it should be fine for black as well.
I mean, you would probably... It just depends if you can... I mean, after rook c8, you will probably put your bishop on e1.
Yeah, it goes to e1 in most cases, I think. We can even start with this, I think, so that you don't have to calculate.
Yeah. Okay, rook e8, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And what is it? Like maybe king g2, king f3?
Probably ends up being some kind of a equal rook endgame, but it's actually not that easy to put more pressure on the b4 pawn, and
no, but it feels that why if anyone has some chances, it's rather white.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. Yeah, because it's not even clear how we trade the b4 for a6. I thought it will end up just getting traded once the rook leaves the a8 square, but it's not easy to force white to do that even.
Although maybe you can bring your a8 rook to c6. Yeah.
Let's go.
Position.
Rook a7, and I'm ready to start giving the b4 pawn up and doubling on the 7th, and
yeah. And if king g7, rook d1, rook d6.
Yeah, and yeah, this is the kind of a draw I've sort of originally envisaged, but
you have rook d5, but it also should be there.
Probably still the same draw. There's also, I was going to say there's some kind of f5 tactics, but they don't seem to work. f5, rook e5, fe. I can even take and go to f4.
Oh,
Yeah.
not winning anything.
No. But once again, this is move 32 and we are currently at move 17, so we should probably stop discussing this endgame.
Queen f3 is most natural, but are
Yeah,
there
apart from queen
another-
f3, is there anything else?
Well, you can just make some move. I don't know. I mean, b5. So okay, so b5 is not really good, yeah, because of take.
Yeah, let's discuss this first. I mean, even let's say if I do this, it's probably just fine for black, I guess, yeah? Or is it slightly better for white after, I don't know, takes, queen b3?
I don't know. Then I think white wants to keep two pair of rooks, and then you will have rook b8 at the end.
Yeah. So we're discussing this this position, but as Sasha mentioned, the more pieces black trade, the closer he is to. Although here,
Although now
there's
white
rook
has
d1. Yeah.
taken rook d1.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
this is a problem because we are
Because
lacking
of
the.
e5.
Yeah, this is a big.
Problem. Yeah, okay, but yeah, it's a problem. Yeah. You can play bishop c7, rook d7, rook c8, but then f4 maybe.
Yeah, f4 or g4, h4, g5. Yeah, you're not gonna. Although I mean, the king comes to e8.
No, you have check.
Ah, yeah, that is true.
And could he try to take with c pawn and a5 again?
Yeah, this is
the
what we
king passes?
originally wanted to discuss.
Yeah.
But you do create this square for the queen.
But I do have rook e6.
But I don't see how to use it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's go move by move and see and if we can maybe work something out. Queen e7
You can play- or b6.
b6 even, yeah, b6, bishop c5 actually.
Yeah, this looks good for black.
And if we go b6 ourselves,
I just don't know how to evaluate it. I mean, the pawn will be on a3, then you can play like a4, queen d5, queen e7 or something.
rook d1, rook d8. Yeah, it's actually not that easy to shift this bishop. I thought maybe I can put pressure on it, but I don't have enough pieces for that. And the pawn is already on a3 pretty much, so black could quite easily be better here.
And
I guess.
Can we go like still the same ideas with queen b5, bishop b4 with rooks on d file or not? Queen f3 played.
Yeah, and queen f3 on the board, so... I mean, there's also bishop g6 here, but we probably don't want to do that, right?
I mean, white can even take and play g4.
Yeah, that was a major reason why I didn't want to do that.
I mean, I guess you would still take and play b5.
b5.
Yeah, I think you go back, but why did you force white to make a good move is unclear.
Yeah, and I think you want to play b5, even if immediately white doesn't want to play b5 himself, because of the same cb5 and a5.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, I think
I
fixing...
mean, you just need to fix this pawn and to create some, because like white has more open files. I mean, there is one open file and one semi-open file. This is C file, yeah, but it's semi-open for white only.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you want with b5 to maybe open the A file or to open completely the C file, because black has in return this G file, which is semi-open for him, but it will be pretty damn hard to make use of it.
Yeah, that's very true.
So
Yeah, b5 looks very logical here. I mean, you can just do nothing for a while, but it feels like you should be playing this move eventually. So why not do it immediately?
maybe b5, because yeah, if b5 rook a1, there is
Yeah,
a5, I
A5,
guess.
yeah.
Yes, it doesn't look good for white.
Yeah, that's an important tactic because yeah, this seems to work, and this also seems to work quite well for black.
Yeah. And I guess maybe you can play b5, rook ec1, just to wait with the capture. Like to put some bishop e1, then maybe rook a1, maybe then it can be slightly unpleasant for black.
Maybe. I was wondering if maybe black can just try and make an immediate draw with taking on a4 and then somehow swapping everything down, but I'm not sure it's a draw.
Yeah, but how can you swap everything down? I mean, I have an extra pawn on the king's side, and
Yeah.
it's never, I mean, almost impossible to exchange.
Yeah, and in the meantime, they have arrived
this point.
here already. So
b5 we're expecting.
yeah, we'll see what happens here. And the times feel a lot more real right now. So this is maybe the first game of the match. No, I mean this is Magnus's white game, and in Magnus's white games, Fabi does very well on the clock second time running. Yeah?
Though a little bit strange that he went for this bishop f5. He didn't spend that much time calculating f5 options.
Yeah, I guess he's just playing a containing game, and it's understandable. But obviously, what Alexander was saying about the, being slightly against the spirit of the line, I also agree with that. But
No, it's not even against the spirit of the line. It's just against my spirit when I played this line and discovered it. Yeah.
if you don't play b5, what do you play?
I don't know. It reminds me a little bit of a game Aronian Tivyakov played in some Dagomiz Russian team championship. It was about the same structure. Maybe there were a pair of knights as well, but in return, which is obviously favorable for white to have knights here, but in return black didn't have his kingside structure damaged, so it was like he had pawn on g7 instead of f7. And Aronian won just extremely easily.
No, but I think what you said about having the knights being very good for white is an important bit there, because the bishop.
Yeah, but I mean also having this pawn on g7, I guess also would benefit black.
Yeah, for sure.
Because now, for example, if you play a slow game, I mean you're pretty much not allowed to bring your king to the queen side, because white king may come to f5 then.
Yeah. Something like this
with
could
quite
be an issue.
big, power. So and again in a slow game, I mean this queen side pawns, they're a little bit weak for black. It's like we have this minority attack for white.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. Like, there has to be a lot of preparation made before white can actually play b5 safely, I feel. Because cb, ab, a5 is a very
but then you
reply.
just play with your rook stuck on a8, yeah?
That is true.
I guess is rook ec1, bishop e1, king g2, king f3, in some order. Then I see. I think now you can just play without thinking some moves. I mean, if black plays slowly. I don't know, maybe he has another idea what he can do, but just to stand still, I don't think is a very nice option.
Yeah, it will be easier for white to find improving ideas than it is for black. We can play king g7, king g6, and probably force white to play g3, g4, but I don't think white is unhappy.
You can play king f3 by that time and meet f5 by take and g4 check.
Ah, yeah, let's show the structure, because I think it's probably a bit relevant. Like king g6, king f3, and if f5 we take with a check, we go g4 check, and next move the king lands on e4, and that is a very nice square for the king. Once again, white is not winning or anything, but it's even this structure is potentially quite unpleasant for black.
But b5 is most critical, right?
Yeah, I still feel like playing b5 is very logical and very critical here.
Yeah, but what to do after rook ec1? So you have to make some, like, I don't know, maybe rook b8.
And
rook
what is the
ep8
threat
or something.
if rook ec8?
No, there was no threat.
We go,
But-
probably first we go bishop b1, yeah? And then we go rook a1 next move or something.
Maybe. I'm not now sure. Maybe you now can play b, take a4, rook
That-
a1,
okay.
c5.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
was going to ask you about, because
But maybe I have take on c5, rook c5, rook d1, because I really want to keep both pairs of rooks here, because of the weakness on f7, for example.
and b5 played, and Magnus instantly replied by rook d1.
Rook
so-
d1, not rook ec1. We are not guessing his moves.
Yeah, which
today.
is a bit curious, because I don't think Black is unhappy about having to play bishop f8, because it just gets the bishop from out from, you know, those tempi that were.
No, but maybe it's okay, because now you will play bishop e1, and then you can play rook c1 whenever you want.
So after bishop f8 you would just play bishop e1 here.
I guess.
And if I go rook d8?
Yeah, and then it's like I tricked you into losing a tempo, maybe, with rook dc1.
So what do we think about this
So
position?
maybe it's a fine move. As
we
this
think this
position
is quite unpleasant for Black.
extremely nice for white, I think.
Yeah, and once again, just to explain to the viewers, because it feels like on the surface Black has an outside passer and White has no passed pawns, but White controls the a5 square really well, and let's say after rook e6, rook da1,
This is a weakness.
yeah, Black is playing with this rook on a8 constantly stuck, and White eventually will start, you know, flexing on the king side, king g2, at some point probably f4, king f3, and then he will start pushing. I don't know if White is winning this, but it's not very pleasant to defend.
No, it's, I think, almost a dream position. Also, you could put your rook to d5 instead
Yeah.
of a1.
That is also possible.
No, I mean,
Could he
I don't
try after ba4, rook a1, a5 to get a3?
Didn't see it.
Yeah, I also missed it completely.
Oh, now it's another story. Now it's...
Yeah, I'm actually kind of seriously considering rook d3 takes a3, but
Ooh.
we're not playing this for a win. It might be okay for a draw, but we're not playing like this for a win. This is actually quite relevant. Yeah, well, good spot by Sopiko.
Thanks.
But I think we're almost always playing bishop f8 in the current position, right? We're not tying ourselves down by rook d8.
I mean, I'm already not sure in anything, but... I would guess. I mean, but rook e8 also doesn't look that bad. No? Although now maybe rook a1.
Yeah, this is what I was wondering, but then after bishop e7 maybe we can just go for counterplay of some kind, no? Takes, AB, rook a6, and rook d1, rook c1, maybe?
Yeah.
Because obviously there's this pin, so you cannot take the pawn. Actually,
Yeah,
maybe the black is just better here or something.
No, yeah. I mean, at least a draw. Yeah, you can just chase this bishop.
Yeah,
forever.
it goes to e1, and yeah, we don't have anything better, but we're all obviously not risking anything at all here with black. So yeah, maybe rook d8 is also an option.
No, but bishop e7. Why would you go take on d8? Now
You want to play
can
rook dc1 or?
Rook dc1, I guess a5. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Again.
Again, yeah.
So basically, you can show to the viewers that if not bishop e7 but a5 immediately, that would lose at least a pawn.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because of d5.
yeah.
No?
I mean, in the line of AB,
Yeah.
take a8.
Yeah, it's important that white has this capture on d6, and
Yeah, and after bc3, white has rook c6. And
once again
He will be
this
pawn up.
might be a draw, but
Yes, but
You don't have to go for this, obviously. Like after rook b8, maybe you're not losing, but nobody ever does that. The position they have on the board doesn't call for black to suffer like this.
yes. So after bishop e7, maybe I would have to go rook b1, just to prevent.
A5,
then play
yeah.
bishop e1,
And then return to c1, yeah?
yeah. Actually, this is one of the things you can learn from this Dorfman's book, that when you have static advantage, you can play some passive moves just in order to maintain the position, because then your pieces will go back to the active squares, and your opponent doesn't have any counterplay sometimes. So sometimes you can afford, because obviously it's quite ugly to play rook db1.
Yeah.
But maybe it's okay.
No, but I mean, stopping a5 is more important than, you know, how proud you feel of how beautiful your moves look. So,
But bishop f8 looks most natural, or not?
yeah, I think bishop f8 is a more obvious choice instead of rook d8. But even here, can we? Okay, rook a1. Here we allow a5, so we cannot start with rook a1. And if we start with bishop e1, there is this idea of Sopiko's of taking and then going a5, a3. Yeah, it's a weird position because neither of those two pawns actually is going anywhere for the time being. But black probably is happier, yeah.
Yeah, I mean you can play like rook c1 to ask a question.
I thought rook a6.
Yeah, so now black is also quite stuck. But maybe it's fine for him.
It's difficult.
Yeah, weird structure. Like I can actually play quite slowly. I think I can bring the king over to somewhere like e2 and then think.
Yeah.
Because black really has no way of attacking the a5 pawn without letting go of the a3 pawn. Like if you play bishop d6, bishop c7, you drop your pawn before you collect on a5. So it's a kind of
rook c4, rook a4, always rook a8, right?
I thought maybe rook b8, but once again, I don't think it creates any significant threats. I can play it on a rook c2.
Yeah, but I can put rook to b3. I don't know. It's just I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look bad for black.
No, but it's a kind of a weird position which I cannot properly understand so far. Like I want to go bishop c3, king d3, king c4. Yeah. Who knows? Yeah.
No, king d3 will be bishop b4.
There will be bishop before there. Yeah, that's correct.
So maybe bishop c3, then you want f4.
Maybe.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure Magnus wants to go for this. So I wonder what's his plan after bishop f8. Okay, so what are other moves? Also you can play like bishop e1, b take a4. Maybe you can play rook dc1. No, then it's like should be something for black. Yeah?
Even rook b8 maybe is interesting.
Yeah, take c6.
a5.
b5.
I don't know, let's start with a3. Actually, maybe let's start with bishop b4.
Not take.
What did I blunder?
Oops. Okay.
I was wondering what I blundered here.
Sorry. So, yeah.
And after b6 I wanted rook a6 with the similar ideas.
Or a3.
Even a3, but I thought just pick up the b pawn and then we'll think again.
Yeah, I don't know, it's just very complicated.
Yeah, question is if white can play a5 and sort of get pressure on c6 pawn, but
no, but there will not be a c6 pawn for much longer, so I don't think there will be much pressure being put on it. No, I think a5 is a way to sort of instantly become worse.
Yeah.
I think you do almost anything else. I mean, you can still take on b5 and get the type of position we started discussing when we first
maybe that's what he'll do.
Maybe, yeah. AB is taking with the a pawn ever correct, Sash?
Maybe. Why
Rook
not?
a4 then.
Yeah, I'm activating this rook, and also, like, there is rook d7, but I'm not sure how big of a problem it is. We can even maybe chase it. Trade one pair off, and
Yeah, but then I don't know if I manage to consolidate, like no, but you will always push for c5, yeah, with one pair of rooks remaining.
yeah, like king f1 or something. I can probably play rook b8 and c5 or something. Yeah.
No, maybe even then, like f4 sometimes is very annoying. Maybe instead of king e2 even f4. But I mean, it cannot be too much for white. Should not be.
Yeah, probably isn't.
Although I still would definitely prefer to be white.
Yeah, I think somewhat surprisingly, this is maybe the best position we've seen so far. So maybe a takes b5 just has to be played after bishop f8, because
and black has to create some counterplay, right? Not to get under f4. And maybe c takes b5 is.
Yeah, maybe we take the c
challenging
pawn.
in
Yeah,
that way.
because we still,
Maybe I just fight for both open files then and play like rook bc1,
yes.
some, or I actually blunder a5, b5, b4.
Is it good?
in that process.
Yeah, seems like.
Take and hold on this pawn.
Yeah, and then rook b5 and it starts threatening to run. I don't know if it runs.
I mean, this looks quite decent for black. I mean, it's quite unclear. You have like rook c6, maybe you have to go for rook c6, and I will have to sacrifice this pawn because rook b6 is a threat.
Yeah, allowing rook b6 doesn't look good, but.
So, and I don't know. But,
b2 and rook a8 is for rook c.
I just don't know. I mean, sometimes those pawns are stopped quite easily, and sometimes they just promote to the queen automatically, and I cannot say which case.
Yeah, here actually I'm struggling to find a good way of stopping it, but
I don't know.
could cost us white.
But why, like rook b1?
b2 or not? Or rook c8?
Yeah, I was wondering about this.
Ah,
Probably doesn't
so
work
maybe
though.
I had to start with
what?
rook c6, yeah.
No, but rook
Or
c6,
then
rook
you have
a8.
rook
Here you definitely lost a piece. No, the question is after bishop
Yeah.
c3, rook c5, bishop b2, rook b8. You have this. You can enjoy this position, but I don't know how much you will actually enjoy it.
But I mean, even after I lose a piece, it's probably a draw.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But I think you will eventually have to give it up, or at least you're not going to be able to activate your pieces. So. And bishop f8 has just been played according to our board, so we will see. We will see in a moment what
was Magnus thinking?
Yeah, what Magnus means to do against bishop f8.
Yeah, but I mean, that really impressed me, the speed he played rook d1. It's like almost pre-move like speed.
Yeah, it was a quickly played move for sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure he expected b5, but still, yeah, rook d1 did not seem forced to my eyes.
And rook d7, we take anyway on a4?
Probably. I mean, we
At
can
some point, yeah, it will be definitely in the air.
but also just taking one pair off might be okay. But yeah, let's look at this. ba, I guess rook a1.
Maybe rook d8 even.
Same.
Yeah, rook
Or you
d8.
have rook c7 then, maybe. Because if rook d8, there is a nice... Okay, it's full of blunders by my part, but there was a nice line of rook d3, which was my point. Because now I see there is bishop e1, but my point was rook a3.
a5.
Yeah, but I also stole a tempo. I thought it's already king on f1, and then still I can play a5, king e2, b4, but yeah, okay, just... Sorry.
No problem. No, but rook c7 might be also a move.
Yeah.
Because I think after rook a4 here, I think we probably make a draw by playing rook d1, rook c1.
Ah.
And this is quite awkward for white. There will not be good squares for this bishop. No, bishop d2, rook d1, rook a2, but... Actually, this is not stupid. Then I will go king
Yeah.
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 king
You
f3,
will
king
end up
s-
with this rook endgame.
Yeah, very
Fine,
likely,
against four.
very likely that b4 pawn will be traded off for both of those a6 and c6 pawns. And once again, it's probably a draw, but it's not a cheerful draw for black. So
Then after
it's unclear.
then after rook c7, what can be the precise way to equalize?
I don't see any.
We're losing this. c6
Well, I mean,
pawn.
if we want, we can do the same thing again.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if the rook
Yeah.
on d7 is so important in this
And
position
now rook
anyway.
c7, just rook c8, right?
Yeah, I think here we definitely can trade one pair.
I don't know how to evaluate this position. Maybe if white can, let's say, by this time, for example, in this position, take and play rook b1, how black would continue playing? Because if I'm in time, bring my king to e2, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Because bishop c3 is a nice piece, right?
yeah. The bishop on c3 controls a great deal here.
But could he try rook a8, bishop e7, bishop d8, because rook is not on a1?
But then, in the end, we go king f1, bishop e7, king e2, bishop d8, and here we go rook a1. And you
Or
have
rook
to,
b3.
or rook
even.
b3, and you have to go back
Oh,
to
yeah.
e7 because this loses a piece.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very weird types of positions. It's not very often where you see both sides with the passers on the A file. It's quite unusual. That's normally how passed pawns work.
Yeah. But maybe rook c7, then rook a6 again, no?
No, like it's, oops, sorry, rook a6, but then, like, you're very passive and
Maybe still I can play rook b1.
Yeah,
I
rook-
think
Yeah.
this b file is absolutely key here.
yeah.
Then maybe rook b8, if I play rook b8 myself and give this c6 pawn and rook b3, something like to be active.
But yeah, we're still
Yeah.
not very sure what the threat is here. Like
Yeah,
the,
and
the
I
king
will just
starts,
bring
Yeah.
my king.
the king starts coming in, and I'm not really sure we can create anything on the queen side here. He took on b5, so
Yeah.
not a huge surprise actually. We were kind of leaning towards that decision ourselves.
Yeah, after rook d1, probably taking is like most logical.
Yeah. It felt like a
Yeah, so now
Move
it's
to
an important choice for black. I mean, like, optically I would go for cb5, but on the other hand, then it's almost impossible for you to push a5, while after ab5, c5 is quite achievable. So, I just don't know.
yeah.
But I don't know, cb5 is, I mean, it looks more, okay, he
AB5.
plays ab5, I just was going to say it looks more dynamic and more in Fabiano's style, and he immediately took ab, so.
Proves us wrong.
Yeah. So how are we setting our pieces here?
But we discussed this position, I forgot.
I think we were playing.
What was,
Yeah, we were playing bishop e1, and then somehow one pair of rooks came off, and we were saying that eventually black will have rook b8 and c5 as an idea, but even that endgame we were not so sure how good it is. And king g2 blitzed out by.
But haven't we played? Yeah, because I think we played f4 at some point.
Yeah.
So for doing that, we should keep the bishop on c3 definitely. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that was happening. I think maybe we played rook d7, rook d8 takes, and we were making some move in that position. But there's no real need for white to play rook d7 if the rook gets exchanged off immediately. So king g2 is quite logical.
Rook a4, king f3, right? And
Yeah, rook a4 is a bit empty because you're...
I wanted c5 and rook c4, but bishop b4 is there. So.
But in general, I don't think you want to, like,
I don't want to
just
change.
structurally, if we discuss this structure change and you don't even lose any material, I'm not sure you want to create this, god damn it, you want to create this pawn on b5 because I think it's more of a weakness than a passer.
Yeah, it just very much depends on the concrete situation.
Yeah, where the pieces are, but well, here it
Yeah,
goes.
here bishop b4.
Here
and
I can go bishop b4 and collect the pawn. Yeah,
Yeah.
so here it's not very playable.
By the way, I had a question. Do you know where those videos with Kramnik commenting on this match was taken from?
I'm not entirely sure. I think he was a guest on the St.
St.
Louis
Louis,
stream yesterday.
St. Louis stream.
Yeah, they.
So there is still like Yasser, Morris.
Yeah, it's the gang doing it from St. Louis, and they do. Their formula is a bit different. I think they switch it on 2 hours into the game, so they do it a kind of a bit of a delayed stream with half the game already gone. So they're taking a different approach.
So Fabiano played rook e8. Now let's see if Magnus wants both rooks or not.
Rook dc1 played instantly.
Okay.
I love the speed.
Yeah, instantly. So he probably, I mean, the way forward probably is connected with f4 somehow, right?
Or maybe just king f3, bishop e1, anyway, rook b3. I mean, it just depends. I mean, if you play like rook a2, then I'm not going to play f4 probably.
Yeah.
I guess next move would be rook c2 mostly.
Okay,
I mean, it just looks nice.
if rook a2, we probably start by playing bishop e1.
Or king f3, I don't know.
Yeah, rook goes to... Yeah, I'm not sure.
Was rook d1 very deep then to force black to go to f8 and not take a b and not to have like bishop c7, bishop b6, or?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure why he felt he needed to play rook d1 there, because it
No,
seemed...
but Magnus is very practical. I mean, if he can blitz out a decent move and force your opponent to think for 15 minutes, I mean, he would not think twice.
Yeah, that is true. Because once again, if we want to like compare it properly, maybe taking on b5 immediately.
Taking and rook c1.
In particular, if black takes with the a pawn. Here, maybe Fabi would have taken with the c pawn. Who knows? But if you take with the a pawn, we can go rook c1, and we probably gain a tempo or two compared to what happened.
Maybe he didn't want the rook bishop.
Maybe he then didn't like some king f8, king e7 at some point. I don't know.
Maybe,
but
yeah.
I don't know. Just I mean, it looks like a quiet endgame, but it's just a very unusual pawn structure, so it's hard to say. I mean, what I can say for sure is that it's white who has some edge, but how big it actually is, I have no idea.
Yeah, I think
I
there
would
would
be worried with black. This is also for sure, and I would have some hopes with white, but again, I'm not sure how big it is. I mean, it might be quite big, or it can be almost minimal. I just don't know.
But with white, we are in no hurry whatsoever, or if we are allowed to play f4, we play f4 as soon as possible.
No, I mean, not with rook a2 check, so I don't know. It's just...
Yeah, Fabi played king g7 for the time being. So if we want, we can play rook c2, stop the rook from coming to a2 and play, let's say, f4 next move, and then king f3, I guess.
Yeah, but then there will be some rook d3, rook a3, so I don't know. I mean, even after f4, maybe. Just to give, I mean, because it's FE, I'm not sure how big of a threat. Sometimes it is, but yeah, and rook d3 now. Or
yeah, and then the
and rook a3. So
But if we just put pressure on c6 pawn without f4, like
Yeah.
rook c2,
Yeah, we can start with
bishop e1.
bishop e1. I guess they go rook a6 here.
And
But now f4 creates no real threat, so...
so we need our bishop to c3.
And also I'm wondering if after f4 black can maybe consider playing f5.
No, I think there should be a quite specific piece configuration in order for f4 to be powerful. I think we mostly want to play slightly slower at first. Like, yeah, okay, so he already played bishop
Bishop
e1.
e1, I guess rook a6 is...
So it's a clear sign he is not going to play f4 soon, in my opinion. I think he will play king f3.
And g4 as well?
Maybe even h4, because if you play h5, then white can always play g4, and white already will have a path. And we just stand like this. Nobody wants to take, but I think it was even in Nemtsovich's book that when there is this pawn sort of pressure or whatever, when like white has pawn on g4, black has pawn on h5, it's beneficial for the side who loses less with releasing this tension. And I think white will lose less with gh5 and black with hg4.
Yeah, hg4, king g4, you feel like you maybe have lost already, because h5, king f5 will start coming in and...
Still might be zeros, but...
Yeah, could be. No, I mean, the bigger question is how do we force... like gh, king h5 is not that horrible, so let's say we double on the c file here, and... Yeah, I don't know, black goes... I don't even know how to put...
So you basically go into full passive mode, because now once I take on c6, there will be g5.
Yeah, no, I have to protect...
so now I just double on c, let's say, and you just go full passive.
Yeah.
Just stand.
Like rook c8 here.
Then I will take d file.
Yeah, this is beginning to...
Rook c7, I guess, or rook a7, but... I don't know.
Yeah, it's not, it doesn't feel like it's going...
King
maybe there
g3
is
f4
no-
does not...
Yeah, somewhere, yeah, there is such idea. I mean, still there will be this annoying check from a3 always.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, but...
Yeah, we can prepare properly with rook.
Maybe it's not so bad for black, actually. I mean, it looks bad, but...
Yeah, and
c8.
rook dc8 played, so I guess Fabio wants to have the rook on the a file, preventing the doubling. I guess the setup is after rook c2, black plays rook a4, and now it's not even that easy to play rook bc1 without allowing massive trades.
Yeah. And he already played rook c2.
Yeah, rook c2 play, but once again, this is very much in the spirit of what we were describing. He is not looking to do anything special for the time being. He is just strengthening everything, every single piece, and
Taking
Yeah,
no
but
time.
now the little problem with this move is that after rook a4 you don't have rook d1. You would have had rook d1 if your rook was still on c1.
Yeah.
But now you don't have this move because b4 pawn will be lost. So what is going on here? I mean, maybe you can play rook b2 actually with an idea of rook d1. And if rook d8, now rook c1. And it's like
Nice play.
yeah.
To take the d file.
Yeah, we're trying to fight for the d file, and even after rook a6,
Rook c2.
rook c2, we are now obliged to either play rook d6, which looks very awkward, or give up on the d file, or go into this endgame. Go into this endgame, which with 4 rooks maybe is not so completely drawn, although honestly...
Well, I think you will be in time to attack f2, no?
Yeah, I think black is in time with the counterplay here.
I mean, unless white wants to sacrifice e4, but even then you can maybe play...
Yeah, like even after, let's say, rook c7, we can still ignore this and just go in, because we attack the pawns first. Yeah, we attack the pawns first.
Yeah, so maybe okay, that was just too like too fancy this rook here and there. So if he played rook a4 already, I mean just play king f3 at some point, yeah, because there is no real threat for black.
Okay.
Have a king f3, some h4. I don't know.
H4,
H4. So you don't want to play g4 with a pawn on h7. You're only playing g4 with a pawn on h5.
No, I don't know. I could also play g4, but I don't know. Or maybe already I can start this dance with rook b2, rook c1.
What improved? Why is this stronger here than
No, I
it
mean
was?
e4 is protected at the very least.
Yeah.
And also your king will be under a check if I take f6.
That is true.
Also now maybe
Rook A8,
Maybe-
rook A1?
maybe.
Yeah, but once again, are we sure we want to trade one pair?
Oh,
Apologies.
Yeah, maybe there is no breakthrough. There's no entering point for white.
Not at the moment, yeah.
It's like it's nice, but maybe it's almost a fortress. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm struggling to find any kind of straightforward plan to improve our position, but
Okay, so he played queen f3. Most likely now king g6 will be played, or maybe h5, but probably king g6.
yeah, I don't think we're playing h5 unprovoked. Although, I mean,
And then, yeah, we'll see. But, you know, the black's position is slightly fragile. If white manages to create some concrete threats, it can be a real trouble for black. But maybe there is just no way to create them.
yeah, I'm struggling to find anything here, but
but after H5, do we want F5 with black pieces?
Maybe. But even with rook on a4, we are capable to play f5 at some point anyway, because after e take f5, king f5,
G4?
g4, king e6. Now king on e4 is not that awesome with the rook on a4.
C5,
because
right?
maybe some
Yeah.
c5 or I mean in general.
yeah,
I mean,
just to
it's not
demonstrate,
something-
we were saying this structure is fantastic for white. Yeah, but with this X-ray, there's all kinds of additional counterplay for black. Obviously, first and foremost, connected with the c6, c5 move. Not trying to take, trying to establish a
Yeah.
protected passer on c4.
I mean, even here you have like rook d1 or rook d1, c4, yeah, I guess.
Rook d5.
Rook d5. Ah, yeah. Yes. So maybe even like this.
Actually, this is quite sharp. I don't know who is better. Because you don't lose the b5 pawn.
Ah,
You only lose the e5 pawn. We
Ah.
don't really care about the e5 pawn that much, like rook e5,
yeah, I
king
forgot
f6.
my bishop is not.
Yeah,
is not
Yeah.
the bishop is not hanging, so we cannot take on b5. We actually have to take on b4, and I mean, black passers look a lot better than white.
Two
No,
of
no,
them.
of course.
Yeah,
Two of them, that looks scary.
but obviously this is extremely non-force. We just wanted to show you the geometry of it with the rook on a4.
But then maybe he should play G4 not to allow
Yeah,
F5.
that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, just to prevent.
But it also limits his own progress on the king side, right? I mean, you wanted to have this square for the king for the future, like in some.
Yeah, but on the other hand, after I play h4, do you really want to let me play h5 check?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
probably
Maybe.
have to play h4, h5.
Yeah, and we have this thing, and then I don't know, maybe we even have some dreams of attack with bishop d2, then take h5 and rook g1. I mean, something like along those lines. Just
Yeah, I
to
don't
give
know.
a
I don't know
nice-
how much of an attack that is because, I mean, mate. It's very difficult to see how we give one check, to be honest. But
Yeah, but okay, let's say,
Here he can
okay,
take,
let's
no?
say,
I thought he could take G4 and C5. Does it work? To take on E4 and then rook C4?
yeah, that's a
okay, I will
concrete
give
question.
a check. I
Yeah,
will give a check.
Yeah. Oh, king f.
Take c5.
Yeah, I don't think allowing king f5 is very safe.
Or
No, this looks bad.
I mean, it's still,
I mean, at least it's better.
yeah, it still might be a holdable for black, but it's risky. I don't want to.
Take f6.
Yeah, yeah. But once again, we carried away. Well, this is a bit too far ahead of what's going on in the board.
Yeah.
Even king g6 hasn't been played yet.
Yeah, but okay. So how do you defend against my mating attack?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
We can start with c5.
Where?
When king g6, g4, h5, h4, c5.
Now, first of all, h5 is a weird move. I was just making it to illustrate the structure we were discussing, but I don't think anybody really plays h5 here until h4 is played.
But I mean, okay, but I will just play h4 next move and
h4 and c5 here.
Ah, yeah, c5 here is probably a... But then we can maybe do this
Take,
Yeah.
take,
and this,
take,
yeah.
and take rook c4.
Yeah, rook c4 and...
interesting. I can maybe
take
take
on rook b7.
c4 and rook b7.
Yeah.
Yeah, takes on rook b7 was what I was wondering about as well.
King g6, h5. Right?
Yeah, it feels like... But actually maybe this is okay. Yeah, king g6, h5 I will take on h5 and come back to g6.
No, but king g6 maybe I can play
King g4, ah, king g4,
Mm,
yeah,
okay.
king g4 is stronger.
I know, again, it's not completely clear cut. You
Rook
can
c5.
have, yeah.
I also have c pawn, right? Or I'm losing bishop b4, yeah?
No,
Or
I,
not?
I don't think you're losing, but what I wanted to say is just after bishop c3 it will be extremely difficult to
Oh,
shift
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And then I want to
Yeah.
play king f5 and then
Yeah.
h6 check will become a threat and f4 in some positions will become a threat. So, yeah, this is not so pleasant for black. But once again, let's not get so carried away. What could he be thinking about here?
Like, why have I played so passively? And
Yeah, I was waiting for that reply, but
You asked for it.
yeah, I more or less asked for it straight up, but apart from that obvious question, what else is he considering here?
no, but I mean, like in Blitz, yeah, you would play quickly here, obviously, but I mean, in a classical game, I mean, it might make some sense to think forward and see if there are which dangers you are facing, and maybe you can, defend against them from far away. I mean,
But if king g6, g4, can't I play king g5? Because king g6 has f5 idea, right?
Well, king g5, we can play king g3 if all else fails, right? And then h4 check.
Oh, so it won't change anything, right? We have connection
Are we having?
problems?
No, I think everything is back to
Yeah.
normal.
I don't know. I mean, maybe you think about h5 now, but it's,
Should lead to very similar things, yeah, because after h5, even the immediate g4, you probably have to play king g6.
maybe you have h4.
h4 would be
Yeah, I don't know about this.
king
think-
g2, king h.
Yeah, I think I will actually start trying to eat it.
Ah, with the king up. I
You-
only thought about like h3, king e2, f3, and take it with the bishop, but like this. I don't know. After bishop e7, how we will take it?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's hard to say. Really, it's a strange position.
No, but obviously, I mean, if I want to make sure this doesn't happen, I can start with h4 and then play g4, and we will have, once again, we will have that position that we discussed at length earlier.
Yeah, but maybe all my attack is a complete illusion because b4 will be hanging if I try to bring my b1 rook.
But maybe you,
And-
yeah, you were promising us mate, so before pawn is is not that important. But let's discuss this. Let's find a waiting move here. Let's, I don't know, bishop b7.
I don't know, it actually looks, anyway, I mean, I will come back to my point and
Yeah.
say that it will be nice to have rooks on b2 and c1 rather on b1 and c2. But then I would be actually allowed to play some bishop d2 and then rook g1.
Ah, yeah, that is a good point. Rook g1 is a legal move here.
So maybe bishop rook c2 was a little bit of, you know, just a move made by hand, because obviously when your opponent has a dark squared bishop, you want to put your pieces on light squares. But here, since this bishop is in fact completely locked, I mean, it's just hard to imagine any line in which black would be able to play bishop a3 with those rooks still on c1 and b2. It's just pretty much impossible. It's just
h5 played.
Yeah, and he has played h5, so it's a committal decision, but it looked like he might, in most cases, he probably would be forced to do it sooner rather than later, so.
yeah, it might be just a transposition of moves.
Do we expect h4?
h4, g4, whatever.
Yeah, one of those two moves, I think, is quite likely.
I know also h3 and g4 is possible. But then, yes, then h4 maybe will be good for black.
Yeah, h4 at least becomes a topic of discussion. I'm still not entirely sold on this idea, but it's...
Yeah, I don't know, it's just weird endgame. Very. I mean, if it was blitz, I would say Magnus is quite a favorite to win it. But in classical, I would say draw is still a favorite for sure.
Some simplification will happen, and we will have more clear.
Yeah, I think Magnus needs to avoid. I mean, the one simplification that can happen is something along the lines of rook c1, bishop b4. We take on b4 and we take on c6, and those positions are a draw. So I think Magnus will be quite seriously avoiding at least immediate simplification here.
Yeah, but those positions are also just equal, not just a draw.
Yeah.
It just loses all advantage for him.
So he will be trying to preserve as much life in the position as possible, and yeah, I think it starts with some kind of a h4 g4 plan, and then yeah, let's continue discussing this. So once again, I'm not sure bishop b7 is a proper waiting. Okay, has different ideas because he played king e2 quite quickly.
Where does king? Maybe he wants to get king to defend the b4 pawn. And
this is a weird move to my eyes because I think it allows king g6 and f5. No.
Yeah.
Maybe then king g6, f4, f5, rook bc1.
f4, f5, rook bc1. Let's see if I can take anyway. Takes, you take with the check, and I just go back here.
No, I don't know. I probably take
bishop
b4
Yeah, I
and
have
f5.
rook a2 check is a very strong threat, so you have to take this, you have to take this. I will take on f4, you take
Probably
with the
take with the
g-pawn.
g-pawn, yeah.
And yeah, I might lose this endgame, yeah. Very, very likely I will lose this endgame.
Wow.
Maybe rook b6 first.
Yeah, maybe rook b6 first as well, yeah. No, this is very dangerous.
Yeah.
This type of structure. Yeah. When I was suggesting this for black, I somehow completely ignored the fact that you can take with the g-pawn. I took with the e-pawn in my head, and then it's a very clear draw. But g takes is much stronger.
Yeah, but maybe black could play f take e4 after rook bc1, and then go with his king to
f5.
f5. Now,
Yeah. Rook b6 maybe.
Bishop b4.
But even rook a2 check.
but bishop b4,
Bishop b4.
Rook b5.
check,
Rook check.
King f1.
take e1 just.
Ah, yeah, there's rook king g4 there. We probably lost this now, yeah? Black is
Is
now...
this lost?
Well, pretty sure, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is normally
Yeah.
Very, very bad. Yeah. Okay,
Mate.
so no real need for white to lose this endgame. But... No, but this king g6 f4 f5 just seemed to me like we're giving black an instant way of solving most of his issues, and I was wondering, we can play king f3 back here, but it feels like we're sort of simplifying in a way that black should be happy with, right? In particular, I was even wondering if I can do this with black, because after king takes e5, the king is kind of... I'm not sure I will give mate to it, but I will definitely give some checks. Like rook e8 check.
A3, rook a3. No, but checks, just wait. That first check will be a checkmate.
Rook a3 is nice, yeah. Creating a threat of rook e8.
Rook
e4
d3,
and
rook
mate.
d3 also.
Oh, come on, I have mate in 2 with checks right now.
Yeah.
Mate in 2 with checks is
first
acceptable.
Check, is a checkmate. So.
Okay, king e6. And now rook a7. Something.
No, now rook d3.
Ah, yeah, sorry. I couldn't understand why you were raising
wow.
your... Yeah, that is a...
This is
that is a picture. That is a very nice picture. Rook a3 is pretty cool.
That is brilliant.
Bishop c3 or rook c3 something. Yeah, let's say
Bishop
rook
g7?
Oh, no, sorry, I'm blundering a piece, yeah. Rook a3 actually is just winning, seemingly, yeah?
I don't see a difference.
Yeah, I think it's just winning.
King d4, just rook e8, right?
Like king d4 we can give a check.
Check even, yeah.
Yeah, and we can give the mate on the e5 square,
Yeah.
which is even nicer.
Wow.
Yeah, and king g6 already played, unsurprisingly.
And h3 is
And
already.
h3. I'm very confused. So if we play f5 here? Why are we allowing black to correct his structure?
I have a feeling Magnus is too careful.
That's one way of describing it. I mean, probably not the way I would have chosen, but yeah, that's one way of describing it. Maybe he wants to go king f3 back, but because without the pawn on f4 there will be a road for the king to return, but
you mean there is no real mate in net, yeah?
But
So
how will be
F4,
this c5 now?
yeah, there is c5, but I mean c5 I take on e5.
I mean, if we didn't take on e4.
Okay. Then I think I take here, yeah, and I take here.
Oh, and I
And
just
I
lost
probably
the pawn. Yeah.
probably end up with an extra
Yeah,
pawn,
yeah.
yeah.
No, but f take e4 and c5 it was quite interesting,
Yeah.
and then just play c4 after king e5.
Yeah.
Quite unclear.
Yeah, very unclear, because the king will have to take some time to get back, and let's say we get the rook from c8 to d3, and yes,
Activate.
we're a pawn down, but it's not really very keenly felt, the lack of that pawn.
Interesting.
No,
What is in Magnus's mind?
Yeah, this is very confusing to me, and
No,
also,
I mean,
after king f3, I feel like if I want to play a containing game, I think I can probably play bishop d6 here. And then f5 check. Or maybe now g4, yeah? Now we actually achieved something with white. F5 played, so we'll find out in a second. But I mean, if he doesn't play king f3 here, then really I don't understand anything at all about his last...
Yeah, it looks like he either plays the endgame brilliantly or just quite weakly. I mean, it's just...
Either provocation, all this stuff with f5, or...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really like this sequence. He took on f5. Okay,
Instantly.
I am now officially very confused. And what, f3 and g4 check? But you're not winning that position. That position is just quite...
He just wanted to simplify? Or
f3, even e4 maybe. He played f3, but I mean even e5, e4, g4, I take on g4 with the h pawn.
Maybe he wants to take with the f pawn. Maybe that's his point.
Yeah, g4, hg and fg, yeah?
Yeah, but just in general to play next move g4 and fg4. I mean, then you have a passed pawn.
You have an outside passer, yeah, but I don't know if you are so happy about everything else. Maybe you are, I don't know. So this is the position on the board now, yeah. Black obviously is not forced to play e4 here, but I mean it's a logical idea to place one more pawn on the light square with the bishop on the dark square, but maybe it doesn't change very much.
I wonder what are the real clocks situation.
I think this probably is reasonably close to what
Yeah.
the real clocks are.
Because
now.
they play pretty fast.
Yeah, I think something like 45 against 39. So that means that Fabi caught up with Magnus on the clock and even overtook him.
Maybe there is no g4 idea now, because then you can play hg, fg, king e4, and now it's black king on e4 suddenly.
So you can make some useful waiting move here.
No, like in bishop e7 or something.
Let's have a look. Because it's kind of difficult to give any kind of even a single check to this king, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, seems the clocks are.
But yeah.
Yeah, so basically clocks just don't exist.
Oh, but it's move.
have
Yeah, it's
too
move
much,
31, so yeah, there's not gonna be a huge time trouble.
Yeah, and how is he going to use it with white? Like,
Oh yeah, I like so yeah, I can't speak English. I quite like bishop e7 in general, and bishop e7 has been played actually, because yeah, sort of giving the choice back to white and asking him how are you going to make anything happen here.
So it looks like again the yogurt is quite energetic today. Yeah?
yeah.
What is this? I'm kind of behind on the yogurt memes.
It's when there was Baguio match between.
I saw, you know, this I knew. I thought maybe there was something newer about yogurts, because the Baguio story I remember.
So we just think that Caruana is also taking.
No, and that in his book, Korchnoi was writing about some of the games of this match, and okay, he was completely lost after move 40, but Karpov kept on playing fast instead of taking some time and adjourning the game. And at the point when they finally adjourned the game, at move like 47, the position was already drawish. And the rest of the story you know, yeah, I guess.
Nope.
And so Korchnoi concludes that probably this day yogurt was too energetical.
Okay, so e4 check.
And e4, f4, is it?
No, I think it's e4
no?
followed by g4 anyway, but black will have counterplay against the, I mean, let's say we play king e6. I think king e6 is more natural here than king.
Maybe he wants rook c1, I don't know. Maybe it will be just rook c1, king d7, and so on. And
But
just
why am I worse here?
No, but it's just king d7, you more or less force repetition, no?
Oh, he goes for repetition.
No, I don't know if that happens, but like rook d1, king e6, yeah, I can't find any smart.
I mean, you need to protect this pawn. And now you have, okay, you have nothing good in your position anymore. I mean, in order to play for a win, you ruined all king side advantage you have.
Yeah, there was an advantage on the king side and it's
Yeah.
gone now. So yeah, it could be. And king e6 played. Yeah, I'm curious if Magnus will just blitz rook bc1 here and it probably wraps the game up, or he can play. But I think if you play, let's say g4 and take with the f pawn, you have created potentially a weakness on h3 even.
Yeah, there's sometimes rook a3, sometimes
Yeah, like-
c5, and so on.
Yeah, I think I mean, trying to disbalance the position to this extent might be just costly here for him. And if you take with the h pawn, it's just dry and you're not better. Just f7, f6, for instance. And I mean, the pawn on b4 is weaker than everything else on the board. So.
No, and then just king d7 at any moment.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, seemingly Fabi managed to. Well, he was helped, I think, because we thought that this plan with g4 and h4 was more testing at the very least. Magnus played bishop d2, but it feels like just a kind of a vanilla waiting move, which doesn't really do very much. Do we play f6 or we?
Maybe we can play like h4 is too ambitious. But
h4, g4, and then.
No, I don't know. We sort of fixed h3 weakness.
Yeah, but what are we going to?
No, but I mean, now I think black just is not worse at all.
Yeah, I don't think.
We can play in a number of ways.
I mean, even f5 is not completely ridiculous, but you probably don't need to.
Why? I mean, yeah, it's maybe okay, but why?
Yeah, exactly. There's no call for it. Yeah,
No.
so most moves seems to be okay.
Strange play by white.
Yeah.
By the way, I wanted to ask both of you if you have read this interview of Magnus about that maybe he will take a long break after this match. What do you think?
No,
His sister said it, or?
I saw some snippets. I think we're probably talking about the same interview, but I think the interview was in Norwegian, and I know quotes from it according to Tarje's Twitter, basically.
Yeah.
And what Tarje tweeted, I think I've seen most of those quotes, but I don't remember this one. But doesn't he already have like a number of commitments from 2019?
I mean, even Sosonka wrote it in his article today or yesterday. I mean, I really doubt it. I mean, I think he really loves playing and competing and everything.
Yeah, I don't think it's extremely likely.
Depends how it ends.
Yeah, but it does depend on how the match goes. And there was this.
But to which direction? He's more likely to take a break if he wins or loses?
I think if he loses, yeah. And there was this quote from his sister Ellen. She gave an interview and she said that short term, if he loses, there's a real risk of him actually quitting the game, which I thought was a very interesting thing to say in an interview, because even if it's true, why are you giving away this information? It felt to me like it's not something that Magnus necessarily wants to be published, but that I thought was an interesting little bit of sincerity in an interview. And
it just looks so unlikely to me.
Yeah, I until I read that, I didn't really think this was at all likely, but
I mean, he's streaming bullet tournament.
Yeah, you know, he cannot physically.
He really
quit.
likes playing chess.
yeah.
And I mean, also, it's not like he's like Fischer in a sense that he tries to play perfectly and so on. He just tries to win games.
Yeah.
So...
Magnus water.
But something went wrong with him, a bit, tiny bit. He of course always performs over 2800, but like first game he could not convert. That was.
No, but I think it began even before this match started. I think.
Yeah, the St. Louis also.
No, but in general, this year he has not really been himself, and maybe I think Sasha said that in his opinion, even the last couple of years, he has not really been himself, and I think it's quite fair. He's still playing to an incredibly high standard, but he used to play more consistently and stronger, I think. Would you agree with that?
But maybe, I'm not sure about it, but maybe it's mostly that people started to play better against him. I don't know, but it's also, I mean, okay, you play like the way your opponent lets you, so it's connected, I mean, it's hard to say. But I remember for many years Aronian just could not play against him. I mean, He was like making short draws with white and then losing every second game with black. But in recent years, he won some games against him.
Yeah.
And actually hasn't lost in a while, as far as I remember.
He himself said that people are not afraid of him anymore, and there are advantages of this and disadvantages as well, because they take more chances and they risk more against him.
I mean, it's not like who really risks against him. Maybe me, but...
Yeah, I was about to say you, yeah. You come to mind, first and foremost.
Yeah, but for me, okay, it's a holiday to play him. I mean, I just cannot make a short draw. And... No, I mean, okay, with black, I guess, if he wants, we can make a short draw, but... but I mean, I'm not going to ruin this holiday. Myself, at least.
Yeah, I generally, I mean, on a lower level, but this is how I feel about games against Magnus when I'm playing at least reasonably well. I mean, in the last game I played against him in the European clubs, I was playing so horribly that tournament that I felt I will, you know, the approach should be every single piece should be in the center, and I should protect every single piece 3 times, because otherwise some of them might drop. So that wasn't the most exciting game I played against him. I still was close to winning because he was taking chances due to the tournament situation. But in general, yeah, for me, like, I really enjoy playing against him because it's interesting and challenging, and yeah.
But generally, just people play very solid against him, and yeah, and then they just don't ruin their game, their position themselves, and yeah.
But I think also, once again, returning to the original point, yes, I agree with that argument, but I also think that something is not entirely at 100% with him. And I mean, I have no idea why, I have no guesses even, but...
Yeah, but it's just hard to perform at 100%, because 100% is sort of like maximum, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's already amazing achievement. He was almost at his maximum for many years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. And Rook BC1 played eventually by Magnus. So first of all, King D7, as we mentioned, is maybe a draw offer. But secondly, I have a suspicion we can just take and make a draw immediately here, right? Takes, King D7.
Maybe Rook A. No. Yeah.
Here, Rook A2 is a threat, and if you start by taking here,
And take.
I think this is just a draw, because after King E7 the only winning try is Rook H6, but I have the attack from the side. I mean, King F1, I mean, if I want to make a draw, I just play Rook B. Hang on a second, is this a draw? Rook H5, Rook F3, King G2.
I can give lots of checks, no? And then play Rook
yeah, that's of course, that's much better. That's...
Draw agreed.
Draw. Oh.
Okay.
Oh, it's a great game.
No, but I guess the reason the game ends here is that Fabi doesn't even need to show this draw in the Rook endgame, because he can go King D7 and the Rook will have to go back to B1, and then he can go King E6. But yeah, Magnus wasn't, you know, pressed as he was in game 2, and in game 2 he even had to equalize at a certain moment. But yeah, not an earth-shattering effort by the world champion today.
A bit confusing game. I don't know why he took so many, why he made so many weird moves with Rook E1, Rook D1 afterwards, then King E2, H3. That was a bit weird.
Yeah, maybe if we talk about this position, maybe he doesn't have anything anymore. But yeah, the choice of not playing B5 here, I don't quite understand.
Yeah, but maybe he felt Fabiano was still in his preparation.
Yeah, that is possible.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Time for your question of the day.
Yeah, game finished a little bit unexpectedly fast. I mean, at some point I thought it could last for a very long time. So today is another musical question. Beatles or Rolling Stones?
Well, it's definitely Stones for me. I've always been a Stones man.
Well, I'll go for Beatles.
Okay, I will also Beatles. I mean, I respect Rolling Stones very much, but for me, Beatles is like, let's say, it's like Mozart in classical music. For me, Beatles in pop music. I mean, it's just such a pure, you know, music and everything. It's just like, you know, like cold. How to say this? Not water, rучеек.
A cold stream, yeah.
Yeah, just pure cold stream. Yeah,
I don't know.
like
My kids went through a Beatlemania phase, and because like Beatles were never a big part of my childhood or youth growing up. I was never really into that. That could have something to do with the fact that the only Beatles record I had when I was a kid was this Soviet recording company at some point released a double LP of what they felt was the best Beatles songs, and it was just, as I realized later, it included all, you know, the sweetest, the most nonsensically sweet ballads ever, and nothing from their other periods. And I never really liked, you know, sweet feel-good music. This never really appealed to me. And I think that influenced my attitude towards the Beatles quite significantly, because it was just too saccharine, too I can't describe it in any other words. But yeah, having listened to them in much later in life, I can understand why people love it.
Great, and before our show ends, I would like actually to announce the mug winners, because we have every day the raffle with the Magnus signed mug, and we have 3 winners from Game 1, Game 2 and Game 3.
And you can see
Game 1 is Godovic, Game 2 is Villain, and Game 3 is Chess Beauty. Congratulations to all 3 participants and winners.
Yeah, and you still don't have any Chess 24 mugs, right?
We need your signature.
Excuse me, what does he sign?
A mug.
Mug.
A coffee
What
mug.
is a mug? Like a magazine or
No,
Like
no,
cup.
like a cup to drink coffee out of.
Ah, okay, like a cup.
Yeah, but a mug.
Uh-huh.
Like a cup, but not a cup because it's a mug. So we should get you onto the whole mug train.
We need your signature.
Yeah,
on
we need
mugs.
eventually to somehow lure you into the offices and make you sign like 100 mugs, and they will go like hotcakes, I'm sure. But this is all in the future. And as for Game 4, not a lot more to say. Magnus tried something else. I don't know if he was influenced by what Alexander said during Game 3, but he did not play the main position today.
Yeah.
But didn't really do him much good.
Yeah, his preparation with white in last 2 matches is not really impressive. And you know, it's strange because even in the last match against Karyakin, he played one really interesting idea, but it was in Rapids, in the first game of, I mean, it was second game of Rapids, but his first game with white in the Rapids. He played a really interesting idea in Italian. But like 6 main games, okay.
Yeah, they didn't.
Showing nothing.
Not a single impressive idea. And now there are 2 games also without. I mean, it's unclear what he had in mind in the opening.
Yeah, today I think he just wanted to get a game with no forced variations and, you know, nothing to memorize. And in a way he did get that game, but the position was already so quiet and so safe for black that Fabi just held it quite easily.
Yeah, but in fact you have to work a huge amount to get what you said. I mean, just to get some game with white, I mean, the position you like, and there is no forced draw. I mean, in order to achieve that, you have to work really hard.
Yeah, I'm very well aware of that. I haven't gotten.
Failed, but
Yeah, I haven't gotten any of those in about 1.5 years or something. Yeah, so, yeah, I know the struggle you're speaking of.
He will try in game 6 and 7 because he has double whites.
Yeah, he has a double white sequence to look forward to. But I think honestly, the more we watch this, the more it feels that, you know, major weight in this match will be on his black games.
Yeah.
Because his black games are actually there seems to be a lot more imbalance with Fabi playing white.
no, but I mean, maybe one day he will be successful in his opening, in the sense that he will get the position he knows better than Fabiano, and also that he likes and he feels better. I mean, he's completely capable of playing very interesting ideas with white.
Of course, yeah. But
I mean,
so
even
far,
this year, I think he played a very interesting idea against Wesley So in Vaikanze, in this d4, d5, knight f3, knight f6, bishop f4, bishop f5 line.
Yeah, yeah.
It was,
with
he
bishop
blitzed
takes b1.
out a lot of moves, and computer first thinks even black is better, but in fact it was very tricky. And I mean, it's actually, I think, maybe his best game this year. I mean,
Yeah, that was
really
that was a
great
truly
game.
brilliant game. Yeah, I remember watching it live, standing next to it, and being extremely impressed by the concept. And no, of course, you know, he has opening ideas, but it's, once again, we're returning to what you said earlier, that it's not only what you do, it's also what people allow you to do. And in this match so far, it doesn't feel like Fabi is allowing him too many liberties. But obviously, only a third of the match is gone, and we, you know, as nerves, you know, continue to escalate, it probably will become more interesting in the second half. By the way, do you think, I mean, which one of them gets more worried the longer this continues? Let's say games 5 and 6 are also drawn. Who gets more upset by this sequence?
I think no Magnus. I mean, last match showed it's Magnus. I mean,
yeah, that's what I thought as well. But once again, I mean, there is the whole advantage in rapid point, but
yeah, but he's not going to. I mean, okay, if it's maybe first of all, he plays the last game with black.
mm-hmm.
So now it's very different from the previous match. And no, and I mean, okay, and also in the last match it was like Sergei almost openly declared, I will play for a draw all games. Here it's not the case. I mean, Fabiano is trying, just he's I mean, so far is incapable with white to create something, but he is trying.
Yeah, of course,
completely.
yeah. No, but still, this is a, you know, a heads-up match between two very strong players. So having a longish sequence of draws is not impossible, regardless of what people are trying to do. Yeah, my question was who is likely to start, you know, I don't know if I can use the word tilting, but slightly tilting if that continues.
No, I think Magnus will start getting mad if it's like 8 draws to start the match. And Fabiano, I think he will not do any special except for game 12. He may try some more to play more risky than usual.
Mm-hmm.
But still, as I said, he's not about to make a harakiri in game 12 if the score is even by that point.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he isn't. And people continue to ask about this, and we still haven't watched the video because we haven't had any serious breaks in the show. But maybe you have seen it. There is a hashtag Videogate. Something is happening on Twitter because apparently somebody posted a video of Fabiano's opening database on Twitter. Judging by your look, you have no idea what I'm talking about.
No.
Okay, I was hoping you would explain it to me because I haven't seen the video, but I think we might see it now. Hang on a second. Give us half a second, guys, because it's an interesting topic, but we still haven't actually seen.
Right.
Haven't actually seen what happened there.
Let me.
It's on Olympiu's Olympiu Urkan's Twitter. Ah,
We
okay,
have
so
a connection problem. Oh,
no, but that's not a lot. I don't know if Sasha is still with us, because as you can see on your screen, there's a worrying reconnecting your connection is poor sign. But
yeah.
Even when he comes back, we can discuss it, because I can now.
We are just watching the video now and the GIF actually, but
Yeah, there's
maybe,
not a lot of information
Yeah.
there, and I think
maybe on purpose.
it could have been on purpose. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them to
Yeah.
do this on purpose, because I don't think any actual information is being given out there. You can't really judge very much by simply the players' names in the list, and I guess if you zoom in, you can maybe see
The lines in the
the echo index of the lines that they're looking at. But yeah, I think they are careful enough to not release.
anything.
Although it is now, it says that it is now deleted, so maybe they are worried about this. But yeah, I don't think in our day and age people are
I see.
careless enough to show something they don't want people to see.
Yeah, I was just looking. Is this Petrov written here?
Possibly, yeah,
Yeah.
possibly. But once again, the fact that Fabi has looked at some Petrov in his
Yeah.
life
It's not surprising.
really breaking news in any shape or form.
Right.
Yeah, and seems like we have lost Sasha, which is regrettable, because I would very much like to know what he thinks about this. But
we can know his opinion. Maybe.
we can maybe try to
Yeah. Try
to reconnect, but yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of minimizing going on here, because as we learned during game one, it is possible on the subject of video games, it is possible to leave open too many things on the desktop,
Like
and then
Team Viewer.
yeah, and then all kinds of fun stuff could,
Maybe we can try now.
yeah, all kinds of fun stuff could start happening.
People know the Skype name of Sasha. No.
Ah, yeah, that's unfortunate. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Yeah, okay. Let's see.
Okay.
So let's
I'll
try this
try.
again.
But we need to send the video link to Sasha because
He doesn't really need to see the
Okay.
thing. I think we can adequately explain it to him.
yeah.
Let's just cover this subject, and then I guess we'll wrap the show up if he can reply.
Oh yeah, he's back.
Yeah, hello.
Hello again. So I can now tell you, if you didn't find it yourself in the break,
No.
I can tell you what's in the video. So there's a board with a very deep endgame position, about 5 pieces on the board. There's also
There
some.
is a board with
He's looking
on
at- he's
on
look-
a laptop. or
No.
just
Actual chess pieces, and it's him, Rustam Kasimzhanov, and Alejandro Ramirez sitting there with somebody in the distance who I cannot identify at this speed. And they also pass some chess books back and forth. I guess you can figure out which chess book that is, but I don't think this gives away much information. And there's also a shot of a laptop screen with a chess-based database open and some game
lines.
files, which you can arguably, if you zoom in, you can maybe read what the game files are called. You cannot see the moves, but you can see the names of the files. And the video is apparently now deleted from YouTube. So this is a huge scoop, and people are now debating whether he was trying to, fool Magnus into thinking he is looking at Petrovs or whatever. But
No, but I mean, okay, it's because in the match is not, I mean, over the board is not too much happening, so every day there should be some, this like media, it's called media povod in Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Entertainment. kind
so
of.
you're
Yeah,
just creating talking points.
yeah, I mean, there should be some topic for media every day. So yesterday it was Magnus
Żadup.
not saying Żadup, but and I then saw a photo, and there is no Caruana inside. So unless you are talking with with Galactics, I mean, I don't think you are supposed to say Żadup. I mean, it's a human. So there is nothing to talk about, and this one is slightly more interesting, of course. But I wonder if video was taken like through some window or just what was.
No, I think it was.
I completely don't believe it was made by him or his team because it's just stupid.
No, I think it was actually their promotional video they put on their social media somewhere and then deleted.
Could it be that some kind of channel took it for like to show and then it leaked? Like this?
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, we don't really know the provenance of the videos, so we can't really judge. But from what I understand, it was posted to their YouTube channel and then deleted. So, but yeah, I don't think. First of all, not much information is given away, and secondly, I wouldn't put it past them to just you know, try to.
Mr. Dodge is saying that Caruana was asked in the press conference and he said, "I don't want to talk about it."
And Magnus said, "I'm going to watch it." Apparently, it was a topic of discussion during today's press conference. So, yeah, that's an interesting take on it because I still
I think it's on purpose.
Yeah, I wouldn't really completely disregard the idea that they did this too.
Or if it was a blunder, they make it look like it was on purpose.
Yeah,
right now.
Yeah. Some kind of a double bluff there is quite possible, but yeah, who knows? At least we finally can discuss this in some, you know, with some confidence, because for the first couple of hours of the day, I just didn't understand what people were talking about in chat.
Yeah, but I mean it's a little bit weak to make it some scandal or something.
Yeah, I don't know, but.
They have to try harder. These world chess guys or whatever, whoever they are.
We'll see what they come up with for the following games.
Yeah, because so far what was like this poster, yeah. I mean this image of this.
Yeah.
Sort of Kama Sutra, chess Kama Sutra, finally printed, yeah. It was so many promises, and then finally it's the the prices, the ticket prices, yeah, have heard some controversy, and that you can go for up to 30 minutes.
Yeah, half an hour, but after 6
which is quite humiliating to buy a ticket and you have half an hour.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting business model, but
yeah, I mean it's. And now this Jadub, which is just completely nothing to talk about.
And the video gate.
Video, yeah, is probably the most interesting thing so far out of those, but
yeah,
I mean, I still think the most interesting thing so far was this interview of Magnus. Yeah, at the press conference. I mean, it was really entertaining.
No, in general, I think he's giving really frank and open interviews these days, and
yeah.
He's become really good value as an interviewee. So I think that is a good development, obviously, for chess when the world champion speaks so openly about what he thinks about his game and everybody else's game. But anyway, I think we've spoken about the non-game topics for long enough, and I'm not entirely sure, but I suspect there's going to be a banter at some point.
Yeah, I mean, the evening has not finished yet.
Yeah.
Should be a banter blitz with me, so stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned, and I will, somewhere in the background, I will try to, you know, collect my thoughts about this game and put them in some kind of coherent order. I don't know if I will manage.
And I'll see you after rest day.
Yeah, and also on the subject of schedules and announcement, I will definitely play a Banter Blitz session tomorrow. I'm not entirely sure at what time, but there will be a Banter session tomorrow. So there's
lots of going on.
Yeah.
On Chess 24.
Stuff to arguably look forward to, even if it's us saying that. And on that note, once again, thanks for watching, and the World Championship match returns in 2 days. Today is what? Today is
Tuesday.
I think. Yes, so on Thursday, game 5 with Fabiano playing the white pieces is the next game of the match, and we all hope you'll be here with us watching it.
Thanks for being with us.
Yeah, thank you everyone, and see you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Obviously, the next coverage in the marshal itself, I've never been on it again. One big alliance, one